This show is 1,000 times better than any radio or TV show because of Peter and actually interacting with the fans. I love the fans. I mean, this is what I envision. When I started this show at the radio station and it was 1,000 watts and we had nobody calling in and we had to create these characters, and I always talk about Rich from Clearwater and the reason why that vehicle was created because we didn't have any callers. So we had to create callers, and we gave the callers the opportunity to call in twice. And we used to give them the walk-up music. And damn it, I would do the walk-up music if it was not for copyright on Facebook or YouTube. But I am monetized now, so I have to mind my P's and Q's. But I love that. I love interacting with the Tampa Bay sports fan. Sean, the sports don, loved interacting with the sports fan. This is what this was built on. This is what this show was all about. Whether it's one person watching, 10 people watching, 100 people watching, 1,000 people watching, 10,000 people watching, 100,000 people watching, 1 million, which is the goal of this show, it doesn't matter. We're always going to interact with you because you mean something and you are the lifeblood of this show. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another edition of the evolution of Sports Talk Television. It's the Sports Web. I'm your host, Peter Blake, giving you something to think about. And how do we start off this show as we always do here on a Monday, Wednesday night when there's breaking news, no matter what. USF, Bucs coverage, Lightning, I'm trying, Rays, absolutely. Bring your passion, bring your excitement. Just don't bring any nonsense. So what do you guys want to talk about tonight? You want to talk about your Tampa Bay Rays taking care of, business today? How about that? Over the Angels there, winning the series 4-2. We could definitely talk about that, as we always do here. It's early in the season, but they're 7-6. My question for the night, have you calmed down? Because it is a long season. Of course, the Giants coming to town at Tropicana. They'll start that series on Friday. Some interesting Rays pages out there. I'm a new admin of True Rays, Rays Up. So I know you guys are Rays fans out there. You could definitely call the phone line, 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391 and talk about your Rays here. How about your Tampa Bay Buccaneers? Breaking news today. I need that breaking news, a little beeper. I think I got something. Is this the draft? Maybe this is. No, that's not it. Let's see. That's the draft right there. That's just coming right around the corner. But according to Adam Schefter, the Bucs are about to re-sign Antoine Winfield Jr. to a long-term deal. Oh, by the way, surpassing Derwin James of Florida State at $19 million a year. So what do you think of that? Mock Draft Wednesday, as Peter reports, kind of gathered up all the recent mock drafts. So we'll go through that as we talked about this last week on who would you like to see this team draft? Is it an interior offensive lineman, which a lot of people love, Jackson Powers Johnson. I don't know if he's there. We'll see. It's been mocked. You got Chop Robinson, possibly Jared Verse. So we'll get into that. Always Bucs talk on this show. You know that. Come on now. Stop playing. Bolts doing big things. So we can talk about your Tampa Bay Lightning if you want to. We'll definitely get some guests on. But the big news of the night, I've acquired nearly 20,000 followers from WATB Sports. So how about that? And I tell you right now, my goal has always been to have increase the visibility of the sports web. And that's what we'll do. Nothing's going to change. Well, there's going to be some things that are going to change. You're going to have more Tampa Bay sports content. Whether it's the sports web, whether it's the JP Peterson show, which, by the way, is on locally every morning from 10 a.m. To noon, which I produce on Wednesdays. And, of course, as always, we're going to talk about WrestleMania 40. Let's go out to the phone lines here. We'll get out to our guest, Mr. Leo Haggerty. Let's go out to Curtis. Curtis, welcome to the evolution of Sports Talk Television.
My man, Pete. What's good, brother?
I'm good, man. How are you doing?
Well, you know what? I'm doing pretty good right now, brother.
Well, that's good. That's good. That's really good, Curtis. I know you want to talk wrestling. I also know you want to talk Bucs and Rays, even though you're not a Rays fan because you're a Red Sox. So we got to convert you over. Sure. So what's on your mind? Yes.
Listen, I just want to say, first of all,
let's
give out a shout out to all of Tampa Bay sports.
Right.
The Tampa Bay sports community is becoming huge.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. Why should Colin Cowherd of Fox Sports always talk about California? Why can't we have a show locally here where we talk about Tampa Bay sports, where you talk about the greatness of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, where you talk about the greatness of the Tampa Bay Lightning, even the greatness of the Tampa Bay Rays with their ownership? That's okay. That's all right. They've done some great things too.
Listen, I respect Colin, but I really don't like that guy because whenever it comes to anything to do with Tampa Bay, doesn't matter what sport it is, he always has something negative to say.
Yeah. It's
Always
amazing how that works. Yeah.
I mean, come on, the Bucs have won the division title how many years in a row?
Yep. Still being counted out. Still being counted out. Yeah.
The Lightning are the most consistent team, like damn near in the NHL. Are you serious?
Yeah.
And listen, if the Rays spent a little bit of money, just a little
bit, right?
Just go out there and get you 2 or 3 $20 million players a year. I mean, come on,
nice.
bro.
It would be nice. Absolutely.
Listen, I'm a Red Sox fan. Don't get me wrong, but you know I love my Tampa Bay sports. I do. Okay, even the Rowdies. A shout out to the Rowdies, big time.
Sure.
So
and USF doing big things basketball wise, even though they lost, their top guys to the transfer portal.
I'll tell you what, I appreciate USF because they offered my son a football scholarship.
Well, there you go.
So,
is he accepting it?
Well, here's the thing, though. He really can't right now because he's still an underclassman. I don't know. It's something in the writing. I talked to his coach about it.
Right.
But he won't be able to accept it till August. So,
okay.
I mean,
well, can I recruit right now? I mean, this is an upcoming program. You got Coach Alex Golish, who's doing great things there. And you got Byron Brown, who most likely could be a Heisman Trophy winning candidate. He's going to be in that conversation. I don't know if he's going to win the Heisman, but he's definitely going to be in the conversation this year. That program is going in the right direction, Mr. Glenn.
And I will tell you this. Yeah. I know for a fact that if I call you and Harry and I tell you and Harry that my son is playing for USF, I know you guys will go out to the game and represent.
Of course we will. Of course, and we'll do a show on the field. If they let us do a show on the field, I can guarantee you we are going to do that streaming show on the field, my friend. Curtis, let me hold up here. I'm being rude. I got to get my co-host on. Here we go. Former coach, scout, and now media member of Night Sports Productions, Amped Up Sports, will be there on Saturday for the spring game.
Book him, Dano.
Mr. Leo Haggerty right there on the sports web. Welcome to the evolution of sports talk television, my friend. And we got to start out right there with Curtis saying his son is being recruited to USF. Coach, you've been a scout before. You've been a coach before. Recruit Mr. Glenn here to his son for the USF Bulls.
Want to play for an up-and-coming team. That's where you want to go because they got it turned around. They really got it going in the right direction. Now, again, the problem with being in the AAC, minor league, and you're going to get your good players, they're going to get rated by the Power Four. It's just the way of the world. Look what's happening with the basketball team.
Sure.
Just the way USF got shafted by the committee and not let them into the tournament just tells the players that, geez, why do I want to stay here? You have a season like we did and we can't get in? Come on.
Right. Exactly. No, exactly. I've seen that. I couldn't believe it. We actually had like a guys group at work, and we were all talking about how ridiculous that was.
Yeah, it was definitely ridiculous. All right, what else, Curtis?
Man, I wanted to ask both of you guys.
Sure, go for it.
How do you feel about the Randy Gregory signing?
I mean, I'm going to start out first. He's got potential, right? I mean, it could have been a first-round pick if he wouldn't have been able to, stay out of trouble, if you will. He wasn't able to do that. I think he's got lots of potential still. It's no risk at this point. I mean, you're not signing him to a big deal.
How old is he?
31 years old.
Okay, so I was going to say, didn't he play with Levante David in college?
Yes.
Did he play with Levante David in college?
Yes.
It was drafted in 2012. So was it that far? I don't know if it was that far back, Leo.
Yeah. He talked about in his press conference that him and Levante were in Nebraska together.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah,
well, there you go.
That's what I was thinking because for me, when we drafted Levante, I was so shocked that he fell to the second round.
Mm-hmm.
And when we picked him up in the second round, I'm like, bro, we literally got the steal of the draft.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care how anybody else feels. To me, Levante David is a Hall of Famer. Period.
Well, I agree with you on that. I think Leo would definitely agree with you on that. But what do you say about Randy Gregory? I mean, you watch him. He's got plenty of potential. Does he flourish, if you will, Leo word, in a Todd Bowles defensive scheme?
All depends on where they want to play him. And, Randy made a point when interviewing him. Hey, look, I can play with my hand in the dirt or I can play stand up. So he's trying to be versatile. He can play inside. He can play outside. So that's what's important here is the kind of guy who can basically fill in a bunch of places. And
I've never seen him play a full season.
Well, and he just got let go by the San Francisco 49ers. So, once again, there are some, red flags out there. He's never been able, 4 teams in 4 years now. So I still think they're going to address that situation. I still think that is their biggest need at 26. And if a guy like a Chop Robinson is on the board, let me go to you really quick, Curtis. What do you think about Chop Robinson? Because you look at his numbers, something like 11.5 sacks and 30 games. It's not impressive, but would you be okay with them going with the Chop Robinson from Penn State, who is a freak? What would you say? What would you go with 26?
Well, I'm going to answer your question about asking you a Leo question.
Okay.
And for me, I've been watching football, and I remember my first big experience with football was the Patriots in Green Bay and Brett Favre winning his first ring.
Right.
And I was probably 10 years old. That was probably my first memory of watching the NFL. And those New York Giants teams that played the Patriots in the Super Bowl, for me, watching those defensive lines and them rotating those guys and those guys staying fresh, I think that Chop Robinson would be a great piece to this defense up front because we can continue to rotate these guys and make sure that they're fresh. I mean, the problem that a lot of times that I've seen with our defense is we're beat up in the front and we don't have fresh legs out. It's when it's hot outside. I mean, we all live in Florida. When it's hot outside and you're on the field for 15 plays, that drains your body. I love Chop Robinson. I also love what's the guy on the offensive line?
Jackson Powers Johnson, who everybody has fallen in love with in Tampa Bay.
I mean, dude, he's phenomenal. He looks phenomenal.
Right.
But we all know that, the crazy thing about this whole NFL draft is none of these guys are a surefire thing.
No.
I mean, if the top, okay, let's like asking if the top corner dropped all the way to the Bucs at 26, would we take the top corner?
Well, yeah, of course you would at 26. I don't know if corner's a need. I mean, there's a lot of people out there mocking corner as a main need. So, but you're exactly right. You most likely, Leo, are in that mode where you take the best player available, right? If the best corner is on the board, but let's just say, for instance, the best corner is on the board, but it's not necessarily a need. But you have a need out there, but the corner is ranked higher, and he is the best corner in the draft. Do you take the corner or do you take the need?
Trust your board.
Okay.
That's the only thing I can remind people of. You got it up there for a reason. And again, it's going to be real interesting to see what happens with the Buccaneers and these teams that are 15, 16 through 25, 26 that are picking. The run on quarterbacks and wide receivers is going to throw a lot of really good talent down the play.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
And I think there's going to be a lot of trades done between 15 and 20.
Well, yeah, and especially if there's quarterbacks on the board, but even Todd Bowles alluded to this. Curtis, thanks a lot for the call. Use that second call if you want to, my friend. Yes.
The last thing I'm gonna say is,
yes.
Leo, I definitely agree with you. My bold prediction for the draft is we are going to break the day one draft day trades. That's what I really think is going to happen.
So you think they're trading up, or are they going to trade down from 26?
No. What I'm saying is I think we will trade up, but there's going to be so many trades in the first round this year.
Yeah.
That the first round is probably going to go longer than it ever has.
All right, Curtis. Appreciate the call as always, my friend.
Oh, yeah.
Use that second call for turnbuckle talk. All right.
Yep.
All right, good stuff there. Open phone line 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. Want to get out to these comments and then get out to you, Leo. Evening, guys. First, as always, draft time. Absolutely. Cody finished the story. I know you're a big-time wrestling fan. Cody Rhodes there, son of Dusty. We'll talk about that later. Good evening, says L. Bushman. What's up, Bush?
Yeah.
Bron says, what's up, Peter? What's up? Sitton says, go Bucs. KR says, Peter is the GOAT of local sports talk. I appreciate that, but I'm only as great as the fans like yourself. Christopher Cole, evening, Peter and fellas. I don't know where Harry's at.
Yeah.
Let's go out to Recon Scouts. Yes, absolutely. He was phenomenal today. I'm going to try to say his name. Caballero. Why do I get it wrong all the time? All right, Alex, glad to have you a part of our page. Appreciate you, Alex. As always, Bron, yes. But definitely the shortstop today was phenomenal and has been phenomenal. Hot bat. In fact, let's go ahead and talk about the Rays, and then we can get into the Bucs a little bit. Your initial thoughts on this team. 7-6. I get it. It's a long season. But it looks like they're starting to put some things together here, especially with that bullpen only allowing one run today. Zach Littell pitching 4 innings. I mean, give me your initial thoughts on the Rays.
Right now, Peter, you just want to get through April and not be so far behind somebody.
Yeah.
Think about what the Rays did. They went 13-0 last year. And they pretty much buried a bunch of people, because if they went 500 the rest of the season, okay, they finish. They're 13 over 500.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the Yankees. I think are 10-2 now. They lost today, but just you want to just kind of tread water until May, and then when May rolls around, you got to have everything in place, because remember now, the Rays don't bring people up until May, because it gives them that extra year to keep them under contract. So there may be some people down on the farm that are playing really well that we may see come, Memorial Day or in June.
All right. We asked for phone calls. We get phone calls. Let's go out to Mr. Alex. Alex, welcome to the Evolution. You're on with yours truly, along with the legend himself, Leo Haggerty.
Good evening, guys. Peter, congratulations on everything that you are accomplishing. Proud of you, my man.
Appreciate it, man. Appreciate you.
And it is an honor and pleasure of having you on our page as well. So I want to thank you for that. That happened this evening.
Yes.
So, guys, please come visit our page. We do a lot of fun things. But we're talking about the Rays. And I said this a few days ago, and I'll say it again. The Rays are doing exactly what I said they would do. We're going to stick around 500. If the Rays can stick around 500 and get some of this pitching back, we're expected to get Taj Bradley hopefully by the end of next month-ish. Shane Boz is hopefully getting ready to start rehab as well. What Savali pitched great. Littell pitched absolutely great today. I think he did a great job. And of course, what Eflin has been able to do in his starter role, taking over the Shane McClanahan position due to the fact that he's out this year in 2024, expected to come back next year. I think what this Rays team is doing is exactly what I expected to happen. I think we're going to stick around 500. What Caballero? I believe I was supposed to say that his name right.
Caballero, yes, that's what his name is. Yes, he got it right and I got it wrong. There you go, Caballero. Yes, go ahead.
What he's been able to do is absolutely phenomenal. That was one of the better pickups I think we did. But looking at the overall lineup, I would like to see Yandy Diaz and maybe Randy heat up. They had a couple base hits a piece because everybody knows that Yandy's been really struggling.
Sure.
But it was good to see Yandy and Randy this afternoon, which is an encouraging sign. But I think what the Rays are doing exactly what I said, I think was going to happen. Got to stick around 500. I'm very confident in this team. If you can look toward the end of May, as Leo was just saying himself, we'll see where we are at the end of May. Stick around 500 and see if we don't get Shane Boz, not Shane McClanahan.
Mm-hmm.
Don't get hyped up.
Right.
But if we can get Shane Boz back and get Taj back, who's expected to start rehab, I believe, at the end of this month, I think the Rays are in a good position. I'm very nervous. There's one thing about this team that's making me very nervous.
Mm-hmm.
That bullpen. Guys, our bullpen is looking – I thought everybody's saying that the Rays coming into the season has the best bullpen in Major League Baseball. Well, we haven't seen that. Oh, we have not seen that.
No, you definitely had some blown saves. Of course, you talk about the Colorado situation last Friday. That was disappointing. Well, again, it's too early to tell, but you're going to need that bullpen because you're exactly right. A pitcher right now, you're not going to ask a pitcher to go 6 or 7 innings these days. You're going to be lucky to get 5 or 6. That's just how it works because of the specialization in Major League Baseball. And that's why it's so important for this bullpen for the Rays to absolutely pitch lights out, especially in, once again, those high leverage situations.
And Peter and Leo, I have a question for you guys.
Leo, go ahead.
Do you guys think that pitch clock is killing these pitchers? And personally, I think injuries have gone up because of that. But I'm not really happy with these injuries. And it's not just the Rays. I mean, there's some amazing starters out there that are going out within a start or two in the season.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, do you guys think that pitch clock has something to do with it? Do you guys think that's something they get away with? What's your guys' thoughts on that one?
I'm going to go out to Leo because you want to answer this question. Go ahead, Leo.
Tell you what, I think it's just an excuse. You get the ball, you throw the ball. I mean, whether you throw it in 10 seconds, 20 seconds, or 30 seconds, it's the strain you're putting on your arm. And it's not the pitch count, it's the different pitches that you're throwing. Mm-hmm. We go back and look at these guys back 20, 30 years ago. It was fastball, curveball, and changeup. That was it. Now these guys are throwing cutters. They're throwing split finger. They got 4 or 5 pitches. So all of a sudden, the stress on the arm, it's coming from different ways. So, yeah, it's become a problem. But I don't think it's the pitch clock. I just think it's,
What is it, Leo? Because you've had pitchers like 10, 15 years ago, and it would be unheard of for guys to be out in the 5th inning. You usually go 6, 7, 8 innings, even sometimes 9 innings.
4th day. Right. I just think that they're not using the right methodology when it comes to training pitchers. Because you go back and look at these guys, that very rarely did you see anybody with arm trouble because they were pitching basically in the majors. You got kids that are coming up and they're playing travel ball, they're playing AAU, they're playing high school, and it's just way too much. Way too much. I remember I umpired an under 12 game.
Right.
I went to both coaches like about 3rd or 4th inning. I said, "Can either of your pitchers can they brush their teeth tomorrow?" I said, "I see more curveballs now than I did at a professional baseball game." Oh no, it's not a curveball. It's what they call a football, where he just rolls it off. I said, "Hey, you're spinning that puppy. I don't care what you want to call it. It's putting stress on your arm."
It definitely is. And again, it goes always back to what he's saying, AAU baseball, those leagues, right? They have those leagues. They have the extra stress on pitchers, pitching a lot of, unnecessary pitches when they're younger and younger. So I think that's also a big part of it. What else, Alex?
One more thing I want to add on that topic real quick, because I know Harry's getting ready to jump in any minute. But I think pitchers nowadays, and again, I'm only 30 years old, So I've not seen what it was back in the day, way before my time. But it seems like pitchers of late have been babied. Like, I feel like you should be able to adjust more. I'm not saying that the pitching clock is 100%. I just feel like it has an effect. But I will agree slightly on what Leo just said. I feel like the pitchers nowadays are not choosing or not learning or not trained to make that extra adjustment. Rather, it's taken 20 seconds to make your next pitch, 10 seconds to make your pitch, or 30 seconds to make your next pitch.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't see the adjustments made in today's pitching. I don't like to say generation, but today's, yes, you can use that generation of pitching. It's just, I don't know. I'm just not seeing the adjustments. But I'm about to get out of here. But hey, just real quick, going back to my initial thing, guys, stay confident with this Rays team. I'm loving what I see. I know we're a game over 500. We're only 11 games in. We're getting ready to face a 500-ish Giants team. So as Leo just said a little bit ago, we're going to find out what this team is really made of once we get into or toward the end of May. So, but for right now, I like what I see. Guys are getting hot. Yandy and Randy getting hot at the plate today was huge. Good to see them getting a couple hits. Yandy was hardcore struggling, 0 for like 17. So it was good to see him get a hit today. And of course, Randy was kind of struggling right behind him. So it's good to see those top two guys. And if you can stay confident, you give it till the end of next month. We get some good pitching back next month. And I'm very confident of this Rays team. Peter, thank you so much for having me. Thank you for being part of our page. We love you, bro. And I am proud of what you've been able to accomplish. And Leo, thanks for having me as well as always, dude.
Absolutely great stuff there, Alex. As always, killing it. Open phone line, 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. Yeah, I definitely got to get you out of here soon. I want to read these comments, and then we'll talk about the Bucs. We'll shift gears a little bit after that. But congrats. Thank you very much, Mr. Williams. Tampa Bay, absolutely. Braun, I live in Philly, and the WWE had this city on fire. Absolutely. Claude DeBoard, hello from Akron, Ohio. Love that. Let's go out to David here. If he's here in the first round, do you think we take Fisk to FSU or in the second round? If Benson is still there, do we take him? I mean, you could take a plethora, not plethora, Ray Kennedy, a plethora, Leo Haggerty, of players from FSU, namely a Jared Verse, who I've seen him being mocked. Is there a possibility of a Verse being there at 26? If he does start to fall, I'll keep on asking this question. I'll keep on asking it week after week before the draft gets here. Do the Bucs make a move up? Is he the type of player that you make a move up? Could you draft a Brandon Fisk, his line mate there, defensive tackle, pair him with Vita Vea? Or what about a running back in a Trey Benson? So many FSU talented players, which, by the way, got screwed by the committee to not play for the national championship. Thanks a lot for that. Thanks for nothing.
This guy sucks.
Got to answer those questions about FSU players in the Bucs.
You know what, Peter? I don't think Verse is falling. I think the fact that people are just looking at these quarterbacks, that's going to take up 6 spots.
Yeah.
You know, before the Bucs even draft. And one of the questions I want to ask Jason Light is, do you have 2 draft boards? You have one where you're looking at just anybody, and you have a second one with just need. Because if any of those quarterbacks are around, the Bucs don't need a quarterback.
Yeah.
Do you take a J.J. McCarthy? Do you take a Bo Nix? Do you take a Michael Penix if they're there at 26 and you got them on your board at maybe 8, 9, 10?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's. I think if that happens, look for the Bucs to trade down. Look for them to try to get out, get an extra pick in that second round, because there'll be a lot. There's going to be a lot of first round talent hanging around at the top of the second round, probably 1 through 15, maybe 1 through 10.
Yeah, that's where I'm at this point with this team. I mean, right now, who's more than likely to be there, in your opinion? Is it Chop Robinson from Penn State? Is it Kool-Aid McKistry? Is it McKistry? McKistry, yeah. Jackson Powers Johnson from Oregon. Or is it a Jared Verse? Who's more likely to be there at 26 as we sit here right now, in your opinion?
I'm drinking the Kool-Aid.
Wow.
I think he's going to be there.
Okay.
And again, I just think you're going to see 10 quarterbacks, a combination of 10 or 11 quarterbacks and wide receivers go before 26, which is going to kick a lot of really good talent down the board to the Bucs.
Do you think they get that deal done? Because that was the breaking news of the day from Adam Schefter with Antoine Winfield Jr. getting that deal done, making him the highest paid safety, and he deserves to be the highest paid safety. Do you think they eventually get that deal done and then move on to Tristan Wirfs? And then, of course, we can have our boat parade because Jason Line, I asked him that question. You get all your players re-signed, and he corrected me. If we get all our players re-signed, we'll have a boat parade. So is the boat parade coming here soon?
I don't know if they got the money right now, Peter. They got to get really creative with Winfield.
Mm-hmm.
Him, the 20 mil, which is going to jump him over, James out in San Diego, in Los Angeles. He's at 19 mil a year. So you got to get him 19 and a half, 20. That may be a tough pill to swallow. Not because the Bucs don't want to pay him. They may not be able to. They're going to have to get really creative to make that happen.
Good stuff. All right. I know we got to get you out of here. I want to read the rest of these comments. Al Bushman, it's too much to expect you guys to throw gas all the time, too. Absolutely breaking news here. I don't know if you saw this. Ohtani absolved of all wrongdoings. And then Al Bushman again, no time to panic. We talked about this on the latest episode of the Rays Rewind podcast. Al Bushman, where are you at? I'll send you the link. You can come on. We can have a Rays conversation if you want to, or you can call in. But Ohtani, go to Ohtani and then talk about Caitlin Clark, talk about USA, because I know you love to talk about college basketball, and then we will get you out of here for the night, my friend.
I'm kind of amazed that Ohtani's been exonerated only because how can somebody get at $4.5 million of your money and you don't know it? I mean, okay. This don't smell right, Peter. It's just, it doesn't smell right. I hope they're right. I hope he was just being naive or he was being a friend because this guy has been with him for years. And this is what happened. But, it's interesting how quickly baseball came to that conclusion. And, Peter, we cannot punish ownership of the Rays because, hey, they came to the plate for Wander Franco. Problem is, Wander Franco didn't come to the plate for them.
Well, I mean, I think, we always talk about this as I'm trying to produce on air here, and it's not necessarily working out in my favor to get Mr. Al Bushman on here if he wants to come on from the Rays Rewind podcast of the Sick Podcast Network. Great stuff there to talk some Rays. Yeah, they did. They did sign him, and it was the right thing to do at the time. He didn't know about the red flags until now. But for me, it always goes back to this key statistic, and I continue to pound the pavement for this because, the Rays are all about numbers and analytics. There has not been a team that has won a World Series since 2003 that has spent less than 15th or above. And the Rays continue every year to be one of the lowest spending teams in all Major League Baseball. I get it. They have success during the regular season, tremendous World Series appearances. I just want them to be on the same level like the Lightning. When the Lightning need to go for it, when they need to re-sign their own players, they don't let them walk out the door. When there was talk of Steven Stamkos going to Toronto, they didn't flinch. They said, you know what? We want to re-sign you. Steven Stamkos wanted to be here. He wanted to be a Tampa Bay Lightning player. We've seen year after year players walk out the door, and I get it. It's the Rays way, but it's drawing fans away. Okay, so you re-sign your own players. You go out there and get free agents. You be like the Bucs. You be like the Lightning. You go all in. That's all I'm saying. That's the one thing that I can't stand about this ownership. I think the fan base of the Rays, raise up, deserves a lot better than what they've gotten. Just my opinion.
Well, Peter, we talked about this ad nauseum.
Yes.
And it's almost like we're watching a redo of Major League, the movie. Like, he wants them to lose so he can move them somewhere.
Right.
And I just, it's kind of frustrating to watch what's actually going on here in terms of, okay, what's missing? Well, I asked Joe Madden. I said, Joe, I asked him two things. How much of the game's pitching? He said 90%. I said, well, what's the other 10%? He said pitching. He said it's 100% about pitching. And the Rays, to their credit, they've gone down that road. The second thing I asked Joe, and this is an interesting one, I said, Coach, 162 games. I'm figuring you're going to win 55 and you're going to lose 55 whether you show up or not. The manager is important for, am I close here with 52?
Right.
You're pretty close because that's the effect that a manager has. I mean, there's some days, I don't care who you throw out, you're going to win or you're going to lose. Yeah. That's just the nature of the beast.
Yeah, so, I just wish you had extra players. I wish you went all in. I mean, go all in. When you have an opportunity to make trades at the deadline, like the Texas Rangers, they went all in. There's been teams time and time again, and I always come down to this, talk about the Yankee fans and the Red Sox fans, but they know every year that their team is going all in. They're going to do whatever it takes. That's the kind of mentality. And look, if the Rays fans out there in the community has to give up $2.4 billion to get a new stadium built there in St. Pete, which, by the way, I'm a little bit biased. I want it to happen because I'm an admin of I Love St. Pete. Do I think it's necessarily going to work? I think it works. If you're telling me I get a new stadium, then that increases the revenue, then I can keep fan favorites around. I don't want you to get a new stadium and then sit there and say, you know what, I'm just going to take down the cap. I'm going to get rid of all these players. I don't want it to be like a Marlins situation. And even the Marlins have won 2 World Series championships by now to the Rays 0. I want that to change, and hopefully it changes very soon. Real quick, college basketball, your thoughts. You're so great at talking about basketball. And, of course, join us on Amped Up Sports. Join us on the Sports Web, because we will be covering the USF spring game there Saturday live from Raymond James Stadium. So your thoughts on college basketball?
Go to Raymond James because it's at Corbett Field. It's on campus this year.
Excuse me. There you go. Don't go to Raymond James. You go to Raymond James, then you'll get lost like me, and then you'll have to go back. I get lost in a Walmart. So if you're taking directions from me when it comes to going somewhere, disclaimer here. I can get lost in a Walmart. All right. Thank you very much for correcting me. Go ahead.
Most disappointing thing about Madness was how atrocious the officiating was. It's gotten to a point now, Peter. The call in the Iowa-Connecticut game, the semifinal, was it a foul? Yes. But if it was a foul, why wasn't it a foul the first 39 minutes and 57 seconds? There is no consistency with officiating now. It has just become horrific.
Yeah.
Again, that people aren't there to see the zebras, but you got to keep control. You got to do something, because pretty much it's gotten to a point where when those big guys get it inside, all they do is turn around and they look like a defensive end trying to get by an offensive tackle. Boom, boom, boom. And there's all this banging and there's no call. So I think that's disappointing. The women's tournament was probably more exciting than the men's because you had Caitlin Clark getting to the finals. But think about what Connecticut just did. 12 games. They've won 2 national championships in a row. Nobody's been within double digits. And you know what? I got to give a shout out to my buddy Brian Dutcher out of San Diego State. San Diego State is 7-2 in the last 2 tournaments. And guess who those 2 losses are? Connecticut. That's it. They've lost to the eventual national champion twice, but they got 7 wins in the tournament. So, yeah, it's heck of a run. It was fun watching. But I'll tell you what, the talk of Danny Hurley going to Kentucky, not happening.
No.
He's very happy where he is.
He should be happy where he is. He has an opportunity here. If this team is not, I mean, first time you win a national championship consecutively since the Florida Gators and Billy Donovan. That's also been bandied about. Billy Donovan possibly going to Kentucky from the Chicago Bulls. We'll see how that all plays out with John Calipari, of course, taking the job with the Arkansas. Leo Haggerty, once again, thanks a lot for your time here on The Evolution. Go ahead and promote yourself here on the Sports Web.
Well, take a look at my latest post, which is about Nikita Kucherov. He is having a magical season. He has 96 assists. Now, you're sitting there, well, so what? Connor McDavid has 99. Well, Kucherov's a winger. There has never been a wing that has had 100 or more assists. Think about this now. He plays the right wing. There's only one pass he can go. He's got to go to the middle. If you're a center, you can go right or left. Kucherov, hey, he's going left, and there's no way around it. So it kind of cuts down things, but he still has 96. And the 2 assists he had the other night, the one to point, the spin around, and the one cross ice to Stamkos, I'll tell you what, they were a thing of beauty.
They really were a thing of beauty, and I don't know how Kucherov at this point is not your MVP of the league. I mean, what he's done to distribute the puck, to score, to me, he's taking over as the face of this franchise besides Steven Stamkos. I don't know how he's not already the MVP, but we'll see how it plays out. Leo Haggerty covering the Tampa Bay Lightning. Gotta love that. I mean, to me, the most dangerous team right now in the league, and I don't think anybody wants to play him, right?
Oh, especially when you got 88 getting healthy.
Yes.
And think about this now. I think he's played 47 games.
Yep.
50 games, and he's won 30. He's like 30, 18, and 2.
Yes.
Right in.
And my friend, you said it best. You said that Kucherov was the Magic Johnson of hockey. He definitely is showing out like that. Thanks a lot for your time here, Mr. Leo Haggerty. We'll see you soon, all right?
All right. Hey, and is Harry on a milk carton or what?
I have no idea. You know, he asked me the other night to go live, and I was kind of under the weather, and you could still hear a little bit of congestion, so I can't go as high as I want to octaves, and I can't. When I laugh, you could definitely hear it. I sound like I got a smoker's cough. I don't know what that is. Something going around. He wanted to go live on Monday night, and I was like, no, I'm going to rest my voice. We'll go live on Wednesday, and he's not here. I don't know where he's at, but you know who's here? Tampa Bay Ray Kennedy, best of the Bay. So we got you covered here, Leo. There you go. Actually, say hi, Jack. There you go. All 3 of us.
Saturday, Ray.
I can't hear you, Ray.
Oh, there's wind out here, so I was thinking, I had a gimmick I was going to run, and it didn't work out. I was supposed to go to a laundromat. I've got laundry in a car, but do you guys, Leo? I'll go to you first because I think you probably do. But do you all know what Corbett Field, of course, the soccer field there on the campus at USF, who that field is named after?
Corbett.
Do you know what Dick and Olivia Corbett and what ties they have to the USF and the Tampa Bay area?
Absolutely not, Ray. Fill me in.
Both of them USF alumni, and both of them the original owners of the Tampa Bay Rowdies. So, I mean, that's kind of neat, being a soccer field and they have the donated field there on the campus. And, guys, what great news, Leo. I'm sure you heard the news, and maybe, Peter, you guys talked about this already, but with the USF gang there and the group there, picking the group that's going to build a stadium, picking a group just like the Rays have picked with the Heinz group down there in St. Petersburg, and that's another step in the process. So good news this week. It's just all kinds of news happening in sports, and definitely over at USF.
Guys, hey, have a good show. I will talk.
Later, he's out of here right there. Let's come out to Tampa Bay. Ray Kennedy, Leo's gone. What's going on, my friend? Where do we start here? Do we start with the Tampa Bay Rays? You flexing your guns? The Rays, if you the last couple games, flexing their guns. Welcome to the Evolution.
Pete, well, first of all, thanks for having me. And what great news. WATB, Mason Bradford. I mean, And that's what the thing about it is that it's not just that Mason, he's stepping, brings it over to here and we're all becoming part of that group, but then it makes us all double down and gets us all more involved. And that's really what what social media and everything is, what we're doing is all about. So congratulations on that. I'm looking so forward to being able to use these channels to continue to build our brand and get our message out there that, I like to flex on a Wednesday night out in front of El Sporta. I'm trying to get a sponsor. I got the,
well,
back there.
There you go. We definitely need to work on sponsors and venues. And of course, the draft is coming up. But let's start with the Rays. Your initial thoughts, 7-6. Some panic from the fan base there with, the bullpen blowing some games, but they're able to settle down here. Talk about the Rays a little bit.
The moment Yandy Diaz steps to the plate, leadoff batter in game 1 and hits the home run, there's just something inside of me was just like, check up from the neck up. I always say it's a marathon, not a sprint. I apologize again, y'all, for the breeze. I really had a run. But if something told me that everything's going to be okay. I mean, we're going to play Rays baseball. The American League East has improved. And, so now they're back above 500. They scratch into 4th place. But, I'm not even sure, to be honest with you. I went over to UPS early in the day. Did they actually win today out there in the getaway game in Coors Field there against the Rockies?
Yes, they did. 4-2. Zach Littell went 4 innings, 6 hits, 1 earned run, and then the bullpen, Kevin Kelly, only gave up the 1 run. Besides that, it was a pretty clean game, and they get off to a great start there with scoring on a wild pitch. 2 guys score because of hustle, and that's what I continue to also say with this Rays team is they need to use their athleticism, especially when they get on base. Randy Arozarena, Jose Siri, and they were able to do that early with Yandy. And, of course, Randy Arozarena scoring on a wild pitch, 2 runs on a wild pitch because the catcher couldn't find it. You didn't know where the ball was.
And I may or may not have been at my day job and had my browser open on MLB looking at the pitch, pitch by pitch. And it was weird because the score said 0-0, but the pitch, they're showing the pitch coming in, the wild pitch, the pitch goes away. All of a sudden it still says 2-2, but then there's a wild pitch, and all of a sudden the runs finally catch up with what they had running in the bottom in a runner there. And I'm like, okay, I realized it was a wild pitch and they get those 2 runs. And Peter, you asked me about what about the Rays and what the success or where they're looking at as far as their placement in the American League East. And I pose to you, if you look at the splits among all 32 teams and you just break it down, everything, we're not talking about, battings or above, runs above average and all, we're talking the serious splits, 1-32. The Rays are at 22. 22nd in the league. So there's 10 teams below them, and they're starting to, they're finding it. And remember, this season isn't just about we want to win it all, but it's about Rasmussen getting healthy. And it's about all of a sudden, Price, we're getting in there, and Jennings. So all of a sudden we're starting to get healthy at the right time, and that's a Cinderella story. But the thing I'm looking at in these, of those 21 teams ahead of the Rays at 22, 17 of them are National League teams. No, 17? Yeah, I believe that's actually true. No, it's a little less. But the Yankees being the only team in the American League East that's ahead of the Rays in that power rankings, the other 4 teams in the American League East, are behind the Rays. So, but the National League's dominant this year, but I also look for the Rays to continue playing Rays baseball.
That's it. All right, let's go out to the comments here. Recon Scout says, Glass now 14 Ks. I mean, he's pitched lights out. That's not a surprise because he's healthy. When he's healthy, he's a top ace in the league, and he's definitely worth the money that the Dodgers paid. Now, when he's not, and then, of course, he's shelved.
Peter, make no mistake about it. When we're looking at the highlights from last night's game and the way he just pitches shut down, lock, and he's walking to the – and Rays fans out there, you tell us in the comments here that you see Glasnow walking to the side after he gets done with the 37th strikeout he had in the game, and he's just that baby face. He's got the mullet always drove me crazy, but he's just that baby face, and it's almost like I didn't think he was showing the Rays up like why because he knew that was never going to happen here, but he was like still maintaining what Tyler Glasnow that we've known since he came up with us since he was a baby, and so there's party that's like, man, you'd like to count on that win every 5th game in the Rays system or with the opener and this and that. But there's also party that understands exactly what the process and what this Rays team does with their baseball and how they keep themselves in contention year in and year out.
And I got to tell you, with that wind blowing out there, I feel like you should be like Dennis Phillips giving us, a report of the weather right now. Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. You flexing and telling me about the weather, but we were going to get Dennis Phillips on of ABC Action News, but severe weather is going to hit this area tomorrow. I mean, what is it like? What's the wind how many what was it? Gale Force winds out there? I mean, you're about to blow away or no?
Well, first of all, let me tell you the gimmick I had. I was gonna do a run. I really had to do a load of laundry tonight. I have a big load in the car just sitting behind me, and I was gonna go to the laundromat. We have one just around the corner from the house, and I was gonna get the laundry going. I was gonna set up, and you were gonna come in, and you were gonna be like, "Where the hell are you, Ray?" I was gonna say I'm in the laundromat. I legitimately had to be there, but I was gonna, the line I had set up the line. I was gonna say, so I decided since the family's at home sleeping, I got off of UPS. I decided to grab a beer and come up here and do a load by hand. And then I also brought my laundry so I can do that as well.
Jeez. Well, you're multitasking right now. Great job.
Well, the thing was, I got there and there was a family of 17 there, and the kids were doing homework, and Grandma and Grandpa were in a recliner, and I was just like, I can't go live here. So I bowed out. I came here. I had no backup shirt, so yeah, I apologize for the shirt, brother.
Hey, it's all right. Raise the red flags there. Raise the flag. And talking about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, what were your thoughts on Antoine Winfield possibly re-signing, close to re-signing with the Bucs, according to Adam Schefter of ESPN?
And it's not just for the talent that he is, and he is. And Derwin James, the durability of Antoine Winfield. And I'm not going to talk about Derwin James and his injuries, and there's so many Buck fans are out there right now going, yeah, but he should have been the one to get. No, that wasn't going to happen. Not with they were still trying to get their $1 billion, first number all pick quarterback right. And no matter what you said, Derwin James could have been a preacher, and I don't think the Bucs would want to bring him in here where Jameis was at in his maturation process. But at the same time, not just for Winfield's durability, but also for the mojo that Jason Light carries with this team. He knows that's probably, besides the fact that Jason Light started out 100 years ago in scouting, and of course he was in the room the night Brady was picked there in New England.
100 years ago, yeah, very good. 100.
He's been around for a minute, but the fact of the matter is, he does two things really great. Right. Doesn't do great cannonballs in the pool after victories. He finds the talent young, finds the diamonds in the rough, finds an Ali Marpet, and he also knows the right players to keep the mojo in the locker room. And that, Buccaneers fans, is one of the reasons why it's so exciting being a Tampa Bay fan.
All right, so let's talk about the draft because we're a couple weeks away. We still have to find a venue for this show. We're working on it. If not, who knows? Maybe we'll just do it from home. But I'd rather have, some crazy Bucs fans in the background eating some chicken wings or some free food. So if you have a venue in mind and, they're going to pay us out there, we'll go out there and show them the evolution of sports talk television. With that being said, lots of mock drafts out there. It's the time of the year of misinformation. Peter Report had this, they had a list of, NFL analysts saying who would go to the Bucs at 26. You got Eric Edholm has Chop Robinson, the defensive end from Penn State, 2 sacks last year, 11.5 sacks in 30 games. I don't know, but he's a freak. Charles Davis of NFL.com has Kool-Aid McCaffrey there at 26. NFL.com Chad Reeder has Jackson Powers Johnson, the center from Oregon. Kyle Stockpole, Chop Robinson again. The Athletics Ben Stendig, man, I cannot read my handwriting, has actually also Chop Robinson, and Pro Football Network has Jared Verse with the Bucs trading up to number 22. So in your opinion, who's more likely to be there at this point out of the list of names? Chop Robinson, Kool-Aid McCaffrey, Jackson Powers Johnson, or Jared Verse?
I can't believe you're asking me this. I feel like I'm thinking the SATs over here. No, I wanted to. You turned on me because I thought you were going to ask me about who the Buccaneers or Jason Light would have looked to pick pick there in the draft, and I would say that I would turn it around to you, Peter. Is what position? I mean, because we don't know who's going to be there, right? They don't even know who's going to go off the board the first 4 picks with the quarterbacks. But what's the position that you think the Buccaneers or Jason Light, as the whole world saying this is the best draft ever for tackles, trying to put 72 quarterbacks in the first 4 picks? What position do you think Jason Light looks to put to fortify this Buccaneers team?
Well, if free agency is the biggest indicator at the end of the day, I mean, what have they not addressed? I mean, Randy Gregory, is that the guy that's going to be your answer as an edge rusher? You get rid of Shaq Barrett. I get it. He's not the same Shaq Barrett, but it's a major loss. So who do you have? You have Randy Gregory. You have the greatness of JTS, who has not been realized yet. Most likely he's a rotational player. And you've got Anthony Nelson. And then you also got Yaya Diaby, who's very young, and then Marquise Watts there, Jose Ramirez.
But you just named like 6 dogs. I mean, you just named 6 dogs, right? And Logan Hall hasn't even reached his potential. And I'm not giving up on Peter. We got another year with Joe Tryon-Shoyinka. I really think if Joe Tryon, he's always been too light, getting to the ball too quick, getting past the ball too quick. If any of Randy Gregory rubs off on Joe Tryon-Shoyinka, maybe the Buccaneers don't keep him in 2025, but there'll be teams looking for a defensive end that learns a little bit like that, learns how to go to the ball and not past it.
Well, I mean, again, they draft Kalijah Kancey last year. You got Yaya Diaby. You got Etienne, who you drafted later on, who you got something from. So they got the contributions, but this defense has to get better. I'm not saying they don't need an offensive lineman, especially a left guard, but they addressed that. They got Brederson there from the Giants. They got the kid from the Eagles there. You still have Hansey as your center. So do you really have to address it? I guess if Jackson Powers-Johnson is on because everybody loves Jackson Powers-Johnson. It's a great name if he's there. But I'm just not sure if he gets past Seattle at 16, right? I'm not sure if he gets past the Pittsburgh Steelers or the Philadelphia Eagles. By the way, Philadelphia Eagles, I got a major need there. Jason Kelce, he was at WrestleMania 40. The reason why? He's retired. So that may be the position where Jackson Powers-Johnson goes. And I get it. You want to go out there and get a guard, somebody that could fill that need. But to me, I think Todd Bowles kind of gave it away the last couple weeks, saying, there's going to be some defensive players on the board that are not to be expected. Possibly Jared Verse. All right, go ahead.
Wait, did you say Sweat? Is that what you said?
Jared Verse. Yeah, Jared Verse. I hope he gets out of the top 10. The kid's got top 10 talent. He does. We'll see.
But do you think that even the talent, what resources would what resources, I'm not even going to start speculating players, but what resources, how much would you want to see the Buccaneers give to be able to move up and maybe get up to grab someone who falls out of the top 10 all of a sudden is available there? Is it that much of a lockdown player? And also, at the end of the day, if you move up like that and spend resources, are you threatening or maybe starting to risk the mojo in the room, the other 53 that are already there? Because I mean, we find Kalijah Kancey and Yaya Diaby and the things that Jason Light's doing, he's finding these guys. And I said this, Peter, do you mind if I go on a tangent? Just for 30 seconds.
Go for it.
I said this last preseason when we went to the Ravens preseason game. We were right there on the wall. And remember, Kalijah was out early in camp. He'd actually had that strain, and he was out, and he didn't really have a whole lot of camp. They were holding that dog back. But the Ravens were at the north end there by the ship, and Bucs were on the south side. And then they started warming up, and Kalijah was down there against the goalposts. And remember, we're just we're all in a stadium. The place is packed. We're having a great time. Yeah. He doesn't have to worry about us paying attention to us, but he's going against the pylon of the goalpost, and he's doing his, and he's hitting on the goalpost, and he's doing it with attitude. But then guess what he's doing between each hit? He's stopping and looking toward the Ravens sideline like he's picking up players, and he goes up to the goalpost, and he's motivating himself on an injury, not playing in that night's game. And all of a sudden, I'm like, yeah, this is Kalijah Kancey. Are you kidding me? And that's the magic of Jason Light. So I ask you, is there a player out there that you think that, that Jason Light could bring in here and could make another Kalijah Kancey or can make a diamond in the rough that while the teams are looking over here, Jason was looking over here?
I mean, it's certainly possible. But again, I think there's going to be, Chop Robinson. The thing that scares me about him, even though he's an athletic freak, is, the production at Penn State. He really hasn't had that. So you got to turn on the tape and say, did he get enough pressure? The stats don't show the whole story, possibly. Maybe the Bucs feel like he's more athletically gifted. He can work in the system, and that's where you go. And because he is so much of a freak and he's so athletically gifted that you can't pass on him. I don't know. I mean, I want to ask fans out there, what do you think about the Bucs draft? 727-255 0391. It's 727-255-0391. Got to read this comment. I don't know who this is. Jen friggin' Ping. The latest news on Tony Khan is he died because of a sudden heart attack. I've not heard that. I was listening to that story. So I think you're kind of pulling my leg and being funny at this point. But I don't know why you would joke around with somebody having a sudden heart attack. It's just it's kind of weird to me. All right. So, again, where do you lie on this? Chop Robinson? Is it a Barton? The guard from Duke? I mean, are you getting dirty there? Are you going with an offensive lineman? Are you going with Kool-Aid McKestry, are you going with him at 26? Who are you going with?
Well, Pete, first of all, Peter, no one knows you like no one knows me like you. So, you know me, and everyone out there who knows me is watching here in Sports Live tonight, you know that I'm thinking of 2 positions on this team, and they both use a leg. So I'm like, you know what, Jason? Everyone else is going around talking about this guy, but when we talk about Peter, I wanted to ask you, when you talk about the player there from Penn State, am I the only Buccaneer fan out there that the moment you hear this guy plays from Penn State, you think Chris Godwin, and you're just like, okay, check the box, it's done. And because Penn State being a great program and being a big powerhouse that they are, so I mean,
look at it both ways. The human turnstile who moved on to win a Super Bowl there because he was getting away with murder like O.J. Simpson there in Kansas City with all the holds he had. Donovan Smith had some productive years for the Bucs, and he was also from Penn State. I tell you what, let's go out to this guy.
Acknowledge me.
Let's go out to the tribal troll here, Mr. Roger Shue. What's going on, buddy? How you doing? Welcome to the Evolution.
Acknowledge me.
I did. I acknowledged you. Now, you got Jin friggin' Ping, who just said that Tony Khan died of a sudden heart attack. I was looking online, and that didn't happen, right? That's erroneous, Leo word?
I haven't seen or heard anything about that.
And just be truthful here right now. How many beers have you had, Roger Shue?
I don't even know. Why does it matter?
Hey, guys, Roger, can I ask you? Roger and Peter, can I ask you guys? Did you guys see the Iron Claw? Did you guys really see it? Peter, you, Roger?
Yes, I've seen it.
I have not, no. I heard it was really good.
I can't believe, as a wrestling fan like yourself, you have not seen one of the greatest wrestling movies out there, period. Zac Efron. Efron, yes.
Well, not only that, but I mean, not the crew, but I'll tell you guys what, that's the first movie I've been on Amazon, all the way they stream us now across platforms, and I'm like, it said it's, $6.99. I'm like, yeah. And in the next morning, I took hell from the wife. But you know what? Every bit worth it. Loved it. Also loved Roadhouse, but I think that's a controversial statement.
Stand by, caller. We got Roger on. We'll come back out to you. Let me go back out to Roger Shue. Roger, go ahead.
Hello?
Yeah, go ahead, man.
Okay. Yeah, I have not seen Iron Claw yet.
All right. Well, you got to see that. It's a good movie.
It's from what I watched the Von Erichs live, back in the 80s.
Mm-hmm.
So I totally loved the Von Erichs and the whole Freebirds thing. It was magic.
Well, I think you'll like the movie, but it is sad.
Well, the whole
well.
Von Erich family was cursed.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. 100%.
Absolutely. All right. What else, Roger?
So what do you think, Caleb Williams, number 1 to the Bears? You're still on board?
I think they have to take the big news this week, and we can talk about the draft if you guys want to with your
We're trading up to get Marvin Harrison Jr., baby.
Well, that's the talk there at number 9. You would be willing to do that. I mean, do you trade up for a wide receiver like Harrison Jr. when you already have DJ Moore and Keenan Allen, or do you go after, trade up to get an edge rusher like a Dallas Turner? You sit there and take a Jared Verse. Hopefully you don't, but just saying, if you did, you could go multiple directions. Why would you go wide receiver at that point?
He's a generational talent.
So you got three number 1 wide receivers.
Let Marvin Harrison and Caleb Williams grow up together and form that bond. They could be together the next 10 years.
What about the offensive line?
I don't know.
You got crickets there.
I don't know.
I mean, let me get this straight. You're doing it over and over again instead of helping your quarterback out. You're not going to get an offensive line. I get it. You got Tevin Jenkins. You got some players there, but
wait though, Peter, are you comparing Mitch Trubisky to Caleb Williams?
Trubisky didn't necessarily have the offensive line around him. Justin Fields didn't necessarily have the offensive line. How we learned our lesson at this point with, let's put a young quarterback out there, but let's not build a line around him. Let's just give him all these talented positions, but let's not build a line around him. If you're going to trade up for somebody, freaking trade up for an offensive lineman. Protect your quarterback. Let's help our franchise quarterback out.
My thing is, it hit me while I was on my way home from work, was this. The Bears are doing all of these things with all of these amazing, incredible players.
Right.
My thinking is, head coach, is Matt Eberflus the guy that will be able to coach all of this talent?
Well, yes, he is, Roger. 100%. Take it from me. The relationship he has with his GM, I was going to say with Virginia, the relationship has an ownership, but we're crazy about that. Roger, I mean, no, Eberflus is the guy, because don't forget, he's a defensive genius, and he's about to get Caleb Williams, and he's saying, look, give me an offense. And that's why when Peter says mentioning an edge rusher with that number 9 pick or trading up to whatever they're going to do, as much as a Marvin Harrison receiver could be the guy, Caleb's is going to have to take his lumps a little bit. So I would pose that the receiving core he currently has might be the right receiving core to take those lumps. And then you go and get him a big dog, because it seems like, guys, every year there's more and more receivers coming out.
Yeah, you do. I love wide receivers, but yeah, I also like
Joe Alt.
Okay, there you go. I mean, that's it to me. If you're going to trade up for somebody, let's do the deal. You got Keenan Allen. I get it. He's got maybe a couple more good years. He's still playing at a somewhat high level. What he had over 100 catches. You got DJ Moore, who's a young player. Why do we need to go and get another wide receiver? Go out there, either get two things. Somebody that can protect your investment so he doesn't get hurt on the first 4 plays of the game. Jets. Aaron Rodgers.
I'm
saying.
They could have had Tristan Wirfs, and they didn't take Tristan Wirfs.
Right. How did that work out for them? How did the other teams passing up on?
Give me the prices right. Wah wah.
There you go. I mean, that's what you can do. You could be that, or you could go out there, get an offensive lineman. You already have the weapons. How many more weapons you want? You want 30 freaking weapons for this quarterback? I mean, come on, man. You need 3 wide receivers. What are you, the Detroit Lions now?
Caleb Williams will be set up to have the best team surrounding him in the history of the NFL coming in as a rookie.
Absolutely, after failing Justin Fields. But go ahead, keep the same.
Well, that would be the 85 Bears, and I'm not saying that McMahon was a rookie in 85, but you said that, Roger. The minute you said that, I was like, ironically, the team I thought that was best surrounding a quarterback was Vince McMahon was Jim McMahon, and it's not just because Jim wasn't a dog and a great
dropped the ball.
I know. I'm sorry. I'll shut up.
I told you.
It doesn't matter what your name is.
All right, Vince McMahon. I'll get you Vince McMahon out of there on that. Let's talk about WrestleMania 40 here, Tribal Troll, unless you want to use your second call to call back.
Let's talk about this. Tonight, the EVPs of AEW, the Young Bucks, released the footage from All In with the brawl between Jack Perry and CM Punk tonight.
Okay, what did it reveal?
Absolutely
nothing. Absolutely nothing.
No, not at all. Did you see it?
I didn't see it. What did it reveal?
Okay. It revealed that CM Punk instigated it, pushed Jack Perry. Perry fought back a little bit. It was kind of like a high school fight. You know, a couple punches landed, everybody came in and broke it up, and that was pretty much it.
Bull spit.
Hey, Pete, I'm sorry. My battery. Roger, I want to ask.
The way CM Punk explained it was exactly what was on the video.
There you go.
Roger, let me ask you guys both. Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, is the heel at WrestleMania, and he gets there late. We know this is, part of, whatever he does, and, he's got his thing going with the league and all. But what did you guys think about, he's in Philadelphia, and he purposely mentions that he was going back and watching a replay of the playoff game between the Eagles and the Buccaneers, and of course we know what went on in that game. Could you believe he did that as a play in Philadelphia, or didn't it seem like it actually was a pretty good play?
It was.
I loved it.
I loved it. It's a great thing by The Rock. He's definitely knowing how to be a heel. He's being heel to the fullest. And it's perfect because who beat the Eagles? There you go. It was the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
And Peter Blake, we have breaking news on your tribal chief.
Okay.
He will be returning to TV on the August 2nd episode of SmackDown.
August 2nd. So there you go. Wow, August.
So for anyone wondering, our tribal chief will be back August 2nd on SmackDown.
All right, man. Thanks a lot for the call. Thanks a lot for the breaking news as always.
Great show, Peter.
Yes.
I will see you in the morning, yes or no?
Yes, sir. You will see me in the morning.
Okay.
Yes.
I'll be ready.
Carpooling with the tribal troll there, Mr. Rogers.
Yes, sir.
Let's go ahead.
See you in the morning.
See you in the morning. Let's go ahead and go out to the phone lines here. Ray, you okay? You have to get out of here? Okay, you're good? Okay.
I'll stay till my battery goes dead, but I'll apologize that I charged it, but I have no outlet around here. So.
All right, I got you. Let's go out to the phone lines here. What's your name? Where you're calling from? You're on the Evolution.
Hey, Peter, Jeremy. How you doing, buddy?
What's going on, Jeremy? How you doing? You ready for this draft coming up? You ready for the Rays? You ready for the Lightning? What do you want to talk about tonight?
In the words of Will Ferrell from Starbucks, so many activities to where
karate and bunk beds and everything else. Yes, I love Step Brothers. Very good. Very good. You speak Will Ferrell. That's awesome.
I'm just saying, man. I mean, the draft's my favorite event of the year.
Right.
I've been doing tons of mocks, but I haven't posted anything of I'm just kind of waiting for the final week, then I'll put my final,
Jeremy, hold on. You've done all these mocks, but you haven't posted any of them. That's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to post them. It's okay if you're wrong. It's a mock draft. They can mock you, and then also you can mock them back if you are right. That's how it goes. But you could post those mock drafts. Post them. I'll share them.
I know. I just, a lot of criticism, man. There's a lot of fans out there that are very judgmental and stuff.
That's all right. That's the crux of the business. You got to love that, right? Tampa Bay Ray Kennedy. I mean, how many
fuels me every day, Jeremy. And let me tell you, just do your thing, do your mock, and post it. And be proud of it, because the wronger it is, it's great. The righter it is, it's even greater. And in the middle, you have a great time showing people your knowledge of the game and what you do know.
That's it. Just stand on it. Just put your name on it, and you'll be fine. And if somebody criticizes you, yeah.
No. I mean, like I said, there's just so many of them I've done between corner, edge, center. I mean, it's so hard to tell where the Bucs are going to go.
Where do you think they go right now?
Pretty much best player on the board. I mean, you can't go wrong with who they pick. I mean, they pretty much added depth in every position between guard, center, edge. I'm not saying Randy Gregory is going to be the savior getting double-digit stats, but to me, he could be a role player. And if he stays healthy, he might be, have even a bigger role, depending who we draft. I love Le'iatu to fall down, but I don't see it happening. He's just too good of a player to fall in the top 20.
That's another player we haven't talked about, UCLA's Le'iatu, and I think Tampa Bay Ray is gone, so there he goes. I mean, that's certainly a player that could be there. Who do you think is more likely to be there at 26 right now, Jeremy? I don't know if you could turn down your phone in the background, because I'm getting a little bit of feedback there. Just talk to me here. Listen to me. Do you think it's Chop Robinson? Do you think it's Kool-Aid? Do you think it's Jackson Powers Johnson? Do you think it's Jared Verse, or do you think it's Le'iatu?
Out of all of them, realistically, I'm thinking Kool-Aid McKinstry are probably the most likely one available.
Okay.
I think JPJ won't fall out of the top 20. You got to think you got Philly, Pittsburgh that can use him. Seattle might be the highest. That's the highest I think he'll go is to Seattle.
Yeah.
And if it gets past Seattle, then Pittsburgh, because Pittsburgh needs a lot of offensive line help.
Yeah.
And then you got the Dolphins who need help vamping their lineup. And then if he gets past the Dolphins, then there's a slight chance he could fall. Oh, wait, I keep forgetting about the Eagles and the Cowboys.
Yep, you got the Eagles and the Cowboys, and you got the Steelers, and that's why I don't think Jackson Powers Johnson is going to be there for the Bucs.
Yeah, I don't think Barton's going to be there either.
Yeah,
so
it's going to be tough.
The most likely people I'm thinking is Kool-Aid McKinstry or Chop Robinson. And if I had to pick, I would try to trade down with a team at Buffalo. They need a receiver bad.
Mm-hmm.
Brian Thompson Jr. is another one I really like, who I would take in the first round. You get that true wide receiver 3-2. You put Chris in the slot, but I think he might be gone too. But I would trade down, try to get another 4th or 5th round pick with Buffalo, then take a Kool-Aid McKinstry, who I think is fall. And his one more name, Peter, is Cooper DeJean. I like him a lot.
Yeah, you talked about him. Is he a safety or is he a corner?
I know we got depth at corner, but you can never have too many corners of safety because Jamal Dean is injury prone, unfortunately. He's a great player. I loved him when he's healthy. He goes out there and balls. Like, if you compare the Eagles game where he was lights out to the Detroit game, he got hurt. And when he gets hurt, then it's all on Zion. And the real question is, can Zion be that guy on the other side to play? He played good. You know what I mean? He didn't play all pro, but he played good. So it wouldn't hurt to get a guy like Cooper DeJean if he's there at 26, because you can use him at safety, corner, nickel. I mean, this is a ultimate guy you can use in your defense if you can't get an edge rusher like Latu or Verse. I just think they're going to be gone. I think those two are out of the picture, so I'm just being realistic here because they're just too good of players.
Absolutely. No, you may be right about that, but you never know when the draft happens. So many quarterbacks, being a run on quarterbacks, being a run on skill positions, some offensive linemen also in that situation. I know you're a big-time wrestling fan. We got Turnbuckle Talk coming up here in the next segment. What were your thoughts on WrestleMania 40?
WrestleMania 40 was good. I love Hill
It was
Rock.
just good? It wasn't great? It wasn't the greatest WrestleMania of all time?
Put the brakes. You're right. No, it was phenomenal. That's a better term.
Okay.
My apologies. I love how they let The Rock pin Cody.
Jeremy, you don't have to apologize on my show, buddy. We have opinions on here. I'm not going to criticize you for disagreeing with me. If you think it was good, it was good. If you think it was great, I thought it was one of the greatest WrestleManias.
Yeah, I mean, I can definitely agree. It was one of the greatest WrestleManias we've seen the last few years. Truthfully, the best one I went to was the one in Orlando. I went there live. That was probably the best one. Then 40 topped it. So 40 definitely was good. Bringing Heel Rock back, letting Cody finish the story. Even though I do gotta give a shout out to Roman Reigns for how long he held that belt, how many times he defended it. I know some fans want to hate on it, because some fans were over Roman over the years, But going heel was the best move for him. I think he's one of the best heels, and having Paul Heyman by his side to, help, promote. And, you can't go with Paul Heyman. Everywhere Paul Heyman goes, guys win championships, from Brock Lesnar, CM Punk, until now Roman. And you can't forget about when we were in ECW, and shout out to Paul Heyman, getting into the Hall of Fame. His speech was enjoyable. I enjoyed every minute of it. And as far as the other guy, like Sami Zayn winning the Intercontinental title, that one kind of surprised me. But I think they're ready to get Gunther up to the next level as a main eventer. So it'll be interesting to see how that goes. And most of all, shout out to Triple H. That man's been crushing it since he's finally taken over, with Vince being out of the picture for good. No respect to Vince. He did some good things in the past, but, it was Triple H's time. It was time for him to take over. Now we got a whole new era of wrestlers that are going to bring WWE to the top. And no respect to AEW. I don't really watch them as much. But WWE, they're climbing back up there. And they got so many things good coming the next few months leading up to SummerSlam. Because I really think it's going to be The Rock versus Cody at SummerSlam. What do you think?
Well, yeah, I definitely need that setting it up there, and we'll definitely get more into that. But that exchange the other night was classic, and a lot of people said, kind of went too long, was 45-minute segment of this, talking and long-term, storytelling and booking or whatever else. But I thought it was genius. The Rock comes out. The crowd is completely booing him the whole time. They have this story where, The Rock wants to grab the belt, see how it looks on him. In so many words, wants the belt, wants the opportunity to wrestle Rhodes, possibly coming up here at SummerSlam. I don't think it's going to be a WrestleMania match. And then gives him something in his hand, and you're not sure what it is, if it's a watch or what it is, and says to Cody, "Don't break my heart again," and walks out. And everybody's like, what did he give Cody Rhodes? And Cody Rhodes is upset and angry. And he even says, you should know what this is, whether it was a watch. And it was reported that, Cody got everybody a Rolex, got not only The Rock, but Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins, and possibly The Rock gives it back to him. Could it be, his father's Rolex that his father pawned a long time ago? I don't know, but there's some definite suspense there, and wrestling is back, and it's good for all parties, especially The Rock being involved, as whether he's a good guy, he's a face, or he's a heel.
Oh, absolutely, for sure. And I like some of these guys are bringing up, like Damian Priest. I like him being the world champion. A lot of fans, kind of knocking him for being the champion. But this guy has climbed a long way from indie wrestling to now. I remember watching him in the NXT house shows they have. I like how they have him as a world champion. I love Heel Drew. I mean, there's so many good things happening at the right time for WWE right now. And that's why I give, once again, Triple H, Paul Levesque, his flowers.
It's his era. It's his era, and that's all you heard throughout the whole days, whether it was, Paul Heyman at the Hall of Fame saying, I'm a Paul Levesque guy. Whether you heard Stephanie McMahon coming out on the second night saying, she's proud because it's Triple H, it's Paul Levesque. It's all about it because they're trying to distance themselves from the Vince McMahon era because it was, a storm cloud over Titan Tower. It was a black eye for that organization, and they want to distance themselves. And I think it's great for Triple H to be in control because you saw the booking, you see the long-term storytelling, you see the guys that are being pushed. You see a guy like Damian Priest who finally gets the opportunity because he's done so much great work the last couple months. That's the reason why he's getting the opportunity to be a World Heavyweight Championship in the cash-in. So definitely the wrestling world, especially in WWE, is going in the right direction. I think AEW is going in the wrong direction. There is no point of showing that video tonight of CM Punk and Jack Perry. I don't care. They moved on. I get it. CM Punk, cut all kinds of promos on AEW, but he was just telling the truth. And if it hurts their feelings, the next time, secure your biggest superstar in Punk. Jeremy, anything else here on the Evolution?
Yeah, what do you think of R-Truth and his gimmick with the Judgment Day thing? Topping up with the titles. I mean, that to me is classic.
It is classic. And I can't believe that we had to wait so many years for Ron Killings, a.k.a. R-Truth, to have a moment at WrestleMania, because here's a worker that's been in the business for a long time. He's paid his dues. He may not be the guy, but he's definitely important to that wrestling organization. So it was great to see him be a part of a WrestleMania moment. He finally got that moment with R-Truth winning the tag team titles. Very entertaining. And of course, he says, because they tag against the Judgment Day, because they're the new tag team champions on Raw, I'm going to have somebody, I'm going to have my tag team partner, You Can't See Me, a guy that you can't see. So everybody was thinking that he's going back to his old gimmick and Little Jimmy, which was his imaginary friend, was about 10, 15 years ago, where he's laughing. No, John Cena comes out. And of course, that was the big thing there too on night 2. We'll get to that in just a little bit with the madman himself, Mr. Mark Mancini, as we were both right on who was going to be the main event of WrestleMania night 1 and night 2. But I love to see it. I think it's great. He definitely deserves some type of run there. Him and Miz, and R-Truth is great for the business. He really is. Very entertaining and very good wrestler, very good worker, very good person. Everything you've heard that I've heard from other wrestlers is that he's a good guy. He's one of the boys in the back.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, what was your favorite match at Mania, Peter, if you feel comfortable sharing that?
Oh, absolutely. Always feel comfortable in sharing here. I'm very interactive with it. I think night 2. I mean, come on. That's Avengers Infinity War. The 2 matches there, night 1 with the tag team with Seth Rollins and Cody Rhodes versus Roman Reigns and The Rock. That's my favorite. You knew that The Rock was going to get the pin. That wasn't surprising to me. Like, The Rock is going to come back after 10 years and going to take a pin. Come on, Mal. No. And you're going to have to stack the odds for the bloodline rules. And then the night 2. So it's like Avengers Infinity War, and then it's Infinity Avengers Endgame. That's what it reminded me of. And then you have John Cena coming out, and then you have The Undertaker, of course, choke slamming The Rock, and Cody Rhodes getting the pin there with 3 crossroads on Roman Reigns. And they even showed a picture of Reigns smiling after he's getting a pin because he held the title for so long and knew it was the right thing. It was the right thing to finish the story. It is a great story because Cody wins the heavyweight title, which his father was never able to do. And when he did it, it was stripped away at Madison Square Garden. I love it. I think it was great. Those 2 matches themselves. And then I think you got to like Sami Zayn versus Gunther, right? Gunther holding the Intercontinental belt for 666 days. But consequently, the devil that night was Sami Zayn, and the whole, coming into Rocky and having Chad Gable be Apollo Creed saying, you owe me a favor. And then right before he goes out, you have Kevin Owens saying, this is your time. This is your moment. It's in Philadelphia. How do you not like that? That was a great match also. So great matches in my opinion. What about you?
I agree with the tag team match with The Rock pinning. It's his first match in over 10 plus years, I believe, and him pinning Cody was just good for business. I mean, and then I feel bad for Rollins. He pretty much had a rough couple of matches, losing back to back, but him coming out in the Shield outfit was awesome. Owning up to his word, saying he was going to have his back and be his Shield. Very, very good job doing that. I enjoyed the Rhea Ripley-Becky Lynch match.
Yeah.
I love Rhea Ripley. I think she's one of the top dogs in the women's division, and I'm looking forward to see what else she puts out there. And then I can't leave out this one either. Rey Mysterio and Andrade. Andrade, to me, is a very underrated wrestler, and I'm so glad he's back in WWE where he belongs.
Yeah.
I think he's going to bring a lot of good things, especially in LWO. And then Dirty Dom.
He's just getting natural heat. I mean, I don't necessarily think he's the best wrestler. I think he'll improve over time with the Mysterio name, but he's just got the natural heat against his father. It was a good match. Andrade, I didn't know what to think of it, but it's good match. I mean, one of those fillers. But the meat and potatoes for me was those matches we talked about. Good stuff, Jeremy. Anything else here on the sports web?
Absolutely. I mean, are you ready for Lightning playoff hockey?
Yes.
We haven't talked about that.
Yes.
I think the Lightning were on. They're still on fire. I know they lost a couple of close games, but they rebound and win the Nets won. I can't wait till playoffs. I think they're going to be the team that nobody wants to face.
Yep.
As far as that goes, whether it's Boston, the word of JP Peterson, they're a bitch. I enjoy
Love it. Love it. Right?
But
they are a bitch.
Exactly. And then whoever's next. I mean, this could be a good chance to let him make another good run. I love the additions of Dumba and Duclair. I think Declare, right?
Yes, it's not Eclair or Eclair like I was trying to say today. Which I apologize. I probably had a chocolate Eclair on my mind, which I couldn't get that today. It's Anthony Duclair, and ever since they traded for him and Dumba at 11-2-1, and the Duclair trade kind of reminds me of Daryl Sador, where the Lightning, they make a trade there and they eventually win a Stanley Cup, but it's not a big name, but his toughness and his veteran ability to galvanize that locker room is a big deal. And you look at what Duclair could do, what he did for the Panthers last year. He's kind of giving the Lightning the same type of thing. They're able to have that flexibility on all their lines, not just the first line, but the second and third line. So it's definitely important. This team has played out of their mind, and you're exactly right. They're one of the most dangerous teams that nobody wants to play in the playoffs because of Kucherov and Stamkos, especially with Kucherov, the kind of year he's having. And once again, going back to what Leo Haggerty said, the goaltending right now is getting healthy at the right time. He still is one of the best goaltenders in the world, if not the best goaltender in the world. They've been there and done that. They won Stanley Cups before. They're going to be dangerous, especially whomever they play. If it's Boston, good luck to the Bruins.
And then one more thing on the Lightning.
Yeah.
Miguel Sergachev, what a tough SOB.
I don't think he's coming back, and I saw this. I know where you're going. He was skating. There was some excitement, but even Cooper kind of, John Cooper, the coach of the Lightning, kind of extinguished this and said, he's not coming back in the first round, but who knows? If we get a little bit deeper, then maybe there's a possibility at him. Now, I don't know what shape he's going to be in. But anytime you get a blue liner back there, back in the fold, I definitely think that's there's going to be some momentum. We'll see where he is at this point with the lower leg injury. It looked pretty brutal, but you're exactly right. He is a tough SOB for skating and trying to get back as quickly as possible.
Exactly. I mean, I'm not expecting him to come back. You nailed it on the head. But just see him skating with the team, I'm just so happy that, that he's, getting that opportunity to be part of the team, root for his guys. I mean, those are things you look for. It's kind of like reminds me of the Steven Stamkos when we had our first playoff run.
Yeah.
When we won our Stanley Cup. Stamkos only played one or two games, I believe, or I think it was just one.
Correct. You're exactly right. Gave him the momentum. I think it was. I'm trying to think. I think it was Game 4. Yeah, Game 4. You score. You change the momentum of the series, and eventually they win the series. You're exactly right. Good stuff, Jeremy. We got to get to Turnbuckle Talk. Use that second call if you want to, my friend. All right.
Thank you again, Peter. God bless you, brother.
Yeah, man. God bless you too. Wow. Good call from him. Man, that was a damn segment. Just a damn, that's what happens sometimes when it gets flowing. We don't have commercials. We like to work on commercials and advertisements and stuff like that, sponsors. But when you get a good call and they want to talk about the Bucs and they want to talk about the Rays and they want to talk about the Lightning and they want to talk about WrestleMania 40, you got to let them go. So we'll let you go. Open phone line, 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. Let me go out to Andrew Fulbear, the big board. In my opinion, Bucs should trade down to the late 30s, grab another third draft, Peyton Willis from North Carolina State, and then trade up for one of the falling linemen, Guyton from Oklahoma or Haynes from Connecticut. I know what you're saying about Guyton, but is he a tackle? Is he a guard? Because to me on this team, he has to be a guard. I definitely think the Bucs are happy with Tristan Wirfs, of course, at the left tackle spot and Luke Haggerty at the right tackle. But if they have the versatility to play guard, why not? Absolutely. Ripley versus Jade. That's the next question with Turnbuckle Talk. What was your favorite WrestleMania 40 match? Night 1, night 2, doesn't matter. Again, open phone line, 727-255-0391 and 727-255-0391. Recon Scout says, hold my beer. I think that's what Roger was saying. Penguins or Leafs in the East. This troublemaker right here, we have not had him on in a while. The madman himself, former XPW announcer, Mr. Mark Mancini. Welcome to the evolution of Sports Talk Television for Turnbuckle Talk. As we kind of reset here, WrestleMania 40 happened this weekend. I got to talk about this guy, though. He gets in the Hall of Fame finally. He much deserved. Paul Heyman, talk about him. Did you ever get a chance to work with him? Talk about how creative of a mind when it comes to wrestling that he is. Welcome to the evolution.
Well, first of all, congrats on that big pickup you guys just picked up, man.
Thank you.
Unbelievable. This show keeps picking up steam. And even when I can't get in here, I'm thinking about you. Last week, the Dodger game and stuff. So, doing, picking up grandkids or stuff. I'm always thinking about you, and I hate missing these shows. But to get these things out of the way, I had UConn to win the title, man. So I'm not the world's,
you're not the
I'm not the world's worst handicap.
Well, I picked them too. I picked UConn. I don't know.
I had UConn, Alabama, Marquette, and Houston. My Final Fours out of this whole thing, and I knew when UConn played Alabama, somebody was going to go, but those corn-fed boys from Purdue weren't going to beat UConn. Back-to-back since Florida. And look at my Pirates, man. If they didn't blow that game the other day, those suckers would be 10-2.
Well, I'm telling you, and that's been, one of the main stories in baseball. I mean, kind of talk about the Pittsburgh Pirates, and then we'll get into WrestleMania 40 and, of course, Paul Heyman. But talk about your Pittsburgh Pirates as you cover them on a daily basis, right?
27 losing seasons in their last 31 years. And I knew they were building something special this year. You see an O'Neal Cruz come back from that leg injury. They just play with it. And, they're in a division where it was pretty much wide open in the beginning of the year. Nobody knew who was going to win this division. The Cardinals and Brewers kind of lost pieces. So they kind of figured and hang their hat on the Cubs. We didn't know what the Reds were going to do. I know it's early. You can't win a World Series in April, but you can sure knock yourself out of it.
Well, you're completely, you don't want to, absolutely correct. Yes.
You don't want to get on a 9-game losing streak like the Miami Marlins and try to get back to the Mendoza line, because that just doesn't work. But they're playing good ball. They could be easily 10-2 if they didn't blow that 3-1 lead in the ninth against the Tigers. But they head to Philadelphia for 4-3 in New York before they come back and play the Red Sox and Brewers.
Well,
and then they head west. But your Rays, congrats to the Rays, 2 out of 3 with Anaheim today.
Yeah, I mean, that's what it's all about. It's about meatloaf. 2 out of 3 ain't bad. I'm showing my age right now. Not only with my beard, but with that song. Look it up, kids, if you don't know.
Yeah.
YouTube is your friend along with Google. With that being said, talk about Paul Heyman and getting into the Hall of Fame. Much deserved.
Yeah, I think it was, ECW days when he was going against XPW. And I kind of thought, well, he sold his soul when he gave up on ECW. He should have held on. You don't want to pay rent on a company you built from the ground floor, but he sold his soul to it. And in turn, Triple H is, reciprocating in more ways than one, gives him the green light, gets him in the Hall of Fame. And he's been a mainstay on, Raw and SmackDown.
I mean, you look at who he's managed. I mean, it starts with what the Dangerous Alliance there in the late '80s, early '90s with WCW. It was stunning Steve Austin at the time, and became, of course, Stone Cold Steve Austin. I definitely think he was responsible with turning on the camera and creating that gimmick, if you will, for Austin with the ringmaster. With him, and he always tells the story about turning on the camera and letting Steve do his thing and letting him be honest. And that's where the Stone Cold moniker came from. Of course, managing CM Punk, managing Brock Lesnar, and now managing the tribal chief and Roman Reigns. I don't know where you go from here. I mean,
you go to Hollywood.
Right.
I mean, that's the only thing, but they got to keep him in the realm of things because, their ratings have been good. 73,000 the first night in Philly. I mean, they came back to back. Usually they let you know where WrestleMania is going, but the rumor has them going to Minnesota next year. So,
yeah.
But I kind of thought maybe The Rock would turn on Reigns. Didn't happen. And then they bring out Cena, they bring out The Undertaker and everything. And, it was a real, like a brawl in the Bahamas there. So, where do we go from here? I will tell you this. I think they're going to set up for SummerSlam. It'll be Rhodes and The Rock.
Well, I definitely think you're completely right about that, Mark. It's most likely going to be at SummerSlam, The Rock and Cody. What did you think about that promo the other night? Because a lot of people said, well, it's kind of long-winded, 45 minutes. I think that's a part of storytelling because you can get wrapped up into saying, you know what? We need wrestling matches. We need action. But sometimes the great thing about this wrestling business is there is some drama. There is, some soap opera antics, if you will. You have to tell a story. And there certainly seems like there's going to be a story told here between the final boss and The Rock. And of course, Cody Rhodes. And what do you think he gave him at the end of it saying, you should know what this is. I'm giving it to you. Don't ever break my heart again, and walking out. It looked like a watch to me. I'm not sure, but I'm intrigued by it. I don't want to wait till SummerSlam. I want to know what the final boss, The Rock, gave Cody Rhodes, which, by the way, he was dropping F-bombs the other night. Once again, I love this kind of attitude era, not attitude era. I mean, it's good when it comes from The Rock.
Well, and not only that, Rhodes, and you're basically been saying this for a while to finish the story. Just goes to show you when you have high expectations for yourself, you'll never lower the bar. And the guy just basically, pulled the bootstraps. I've always said, people look at goals in life. You got to look at the journey and how you handle the journey.
Yeah.
If you give up on the journey, then you'll never hit the goal. So the journey's where it's at. You're going to go through peaks and valleys, but you never doubt yourself if you got that fortitude. And I thought Cody Rhodes had that fortitude all the way around. Back-to-back, Royal Rumble champs, came up short at WrestleMania last year. This year he finishes his story. And, I thought it was nice when everybody came out, Orton and Kevin Owens, and, everybody came out. And even the speech with The Rock, and I hold the belt, and this feels good. And, it's something, but it all starts with Triple H. I think Triple H has built a relationship now with the wrestlers that, that it's more important than money. And I think what happened with Vince McMahon, it was all about himself, and me, myself, and I attitude. And when you have that, you have people just, walking out on your company. So that's probably what it stemmed from.
I mean, it's not only what people walking out, but the allegations. Again, storm clouds over Titan Tower on with Mark Mancini here, former XPW announcer of Mancini Media. It's Turnbuckle Talk on the Sports Web. I'm your host, Peter Blake, giving you something to think about. You're exactly right. And it seemed like it was emphasis every time. Like Triple H was everywhere. Like you knew that this was the Paul Levesque era. And what a hell of a way to start with the Hall of Fame, with WrestleMania Night 1. Let's go to WrestleMania Night 1. What stuck out? What stood out to you besides the obvious, the tag team match between, Seth Rollins, Cody Rhodes, The Rock, and Roman Reigns? What other match stood out to you? Was it Sami Zayn versus Gunther?
Well, that was another one. You just took the words out of my mouth. I think there was another remarkable story because if you remember, when Sami Zayn was a heel, he'd walk out with the shirt, "I'm the Intercontinental Champ," and people made fun of him and all that. And he kind of felt he got robbed back then, and feels good that he got the finish of story. And Gunther 666. I mean, the devil's numbers there, but I think with Gunther, I mean, is he the best Intercontinental Champion of all time? I don't know. The numbers might show it, but I'd have to say maybe the Honky Tonk Man would be right up there, and you could throw quite a few other guys. But I don't think Gunther has the pizzazz that the old wrestlers have. He just he had to create his own mic skills. Reigns did a phenomenal job with his mic skills when he really didn't have mic skills with the Shield, but I think Gunther needs to work on it a little bit more. But a great champ, and he finally got rid of his lackeys there.
Well, you did, and for me, Gunther is going for the World Heavyweight title. I mean, that's what's going to happen. Damian Priest, of course, cashes in with that. Let's talk about night 2. Let's go to that match, because we knew that there was going to be some cost there with Seth Rollins getting beat up in that tag team match. He comes out. I get it. It's a storyline, but he was clearly beat up. Drew McIntyre, a fresh wrestler, already a heel. You kind of knew he was going to win this match. He wins the match. And then and of course, CM Punk is on commentary. And there's a reason. This is what I love about what they do, is there's always a foreshadowing to it. I tell you what, let's go out to the phone lines here. I'll finish that thought. Let's go out to Curtis using your second call. Welcome to Turnbuckle Talk here on the Evolution with yours truly, along with the madman, Mark Mancini.
How you doing, Mark?
Oh, I'm doing great, brother. You've held the fort down for me there till I got in here, and I appreciate it.
There you go. Keep the camera shot like that. That's good right there, Mark. Stop moving around.
Listen, that was probably the greatest WrestleMania I've ever seen in my life.
Right? Why?
It just, I was on the edge of my seat the whole night, both nights.
Yeah.
Both nights I was on the edge of my seat.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, to me, the Becky Lynch, I heard about Becky being sick. I mean, that was still a good match.
Yep.
Tag team match. It only rivaled the TLC match between the Dudleys, Edge and Christian, and the Hardys.
That was surprising, because there were so many great gimmicks, and we remember that match. And then there were so many great spots. You're exactly. I didn't expect anything out of that match. I really didn't. With all those tag teams,
Andrade, I'm glad to see him back. I'm glad to see Dominic get beat up anytime. Just whatever.
Right.
I mean, you love or hate Dominic. He's got a great gimmick right now. He does, no matter what. You know what I'm saying? And he plays the perfect, for lack of a better terms, asshole.
Well, anyway. Well, yes, yeah, definitely.
Anyway, tag team match, The Rock and them was great. The match with Damage Control and Bianca them, I think that was probably a waste of time. I mean, it was a good match.
Yeah,
it was a good. It was a good match. It was a good match. We all knew who was going to win, though. I mean, they had no chance.
No chance, and I'm
no chance.
I'm just not a fan of it. I mean, I'm happy for Bayley. Well, she won the title. Yeah, go ahead, Mark.
The other thing that was, I'm glad to see the whiner and the guy that bitches every time, McIntyre, got his due back. I realized he was a champ and nobody was there to see him when he won it, but to lose it in about 5 seconds when Damian Priest, I think Damian Priest and Rhea Ripley now will kind of figure out going maybe faces. I think you've seen the end of the Judgment Day, and I've never been a big Dominic guy, but when you look at McDonough there, he's done, and Finn Balor, those guys will be going by the wayside. But I think the Priest thing with McIntyre and Punk now are going to be the SummerSlam feud. But,
listen. Monday night.
Take my money. Just take my money at this point. It's going to be Punk and McIntyre. Absolutely.
Monday night, I never laughed so hard in my life.
Yes.
When Punk screwed him again.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was on the floor in here rolling. I just couldn't. I just was dying laughing. And then
the big surprise is Theory and Grayson Waller.
Well, they're trying to promote those guys, and it's a good way to do that, especially with those young wrestlers, because eventually that they're going to turn on each other.
Yeah,
most likely Austin Theory, Grayson Waller. Those guys are the future. Those Austin Theory wins over John Cena. Really hasn't done anything much. I mean, was a U.S. champion, but not necessarily, the greatest title run, if you will. So they got plans for him and Grayson Waller also.
I think Logan Paul was a surprise for me.
It was too. I thought he was going to lose. I thought he was going to lose to Kevin Owens or Randy Orton, especially Kevin Owens.
Yeah.
I think he'll hold the belt till SummerSlam, and then I think Orton will come after him.
Yeah.
Well, it should be. I mean, I thought Kevin Owens is going to win it because, of course, Owens is in the back, and Sami Zayn does the same thing that Kevin Owens did for him. He's like, it's your time now. And I'm like, all right, let's see both of these guys with the title. And
that's what I was expecting.
I think Kevin Owens is so underappreciated. Like, I feel so bad for him because to me, he's a main event guy.
Yeah.
He never gets his just due. I don't know if it's his look. I don't know if it's the situation. Maybe I'm wrong about this, but the guy's good on the mic. He can wrestle. It just seems like he's always in, some type of bad situation. He put on a great match. I just don't know why you're not recognizing him as a champion.
Before I finish night 2, let me ask you guys a question.
Yeah.
How would you feel about Kevin Owens being a Paul Heyman guy?
I could definitely see it, but that would mean he's turning heel again, which I think Owens is probably a better heel than he is a face. Just saying.
He is.
Yeah.
He is.
I mean, why not? How could you get worse than Paul Heyman?
Well, you gotta, usually we start to see the turn of these heels and faces. I don't know if Owens is going to turn heel, but I will tell you, I can see Orton maybe going heel.
Oh, yeah.
Orton would go heel, but I can see Damian Priest going back to face.
Well, I don't know what Damian Priest is. I know he's a good wrestler. I know he's talented, but I really don't know what his character is besides the Judgment Day. And I don't know. I know they want to build this faction up because that's what they're all about. But then again, you kind of feel like what you said, Mark, that they're going to distance themselves from that faction with eventually Rhea Ripley turning face and going away from the Judgment Day. And also Damian Priest, that they're too big for that. And the other guys, go off. And that's the reason why you have the faction in the first place. Be champions, get whatever publicity you can get, and then, move on. And that's what they do all the time. But you're exactly right about that. I mean, Kevin Owens with Paul Heyman, I mean, that to me is a home run. I agree. Completely agree.
Where does Heyman go?
I mean, I don't know where he goes at this point. I mean, I think he's still a wise man with Roman Reigns, but Reigns is going away for a while. So I don't know. It's a good question. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and Seth Rollins, what does he do? I mean, he's going to get.
Seth's got to get better. He's got to rest.
Yeah, he's got to rest.
Yeah.
My other thing is Damian going to SmackDown and is Cody coming to Raw? Who's going to be where?
Well, all the belts are on Raw.
Well, I think Cody is going. I think Cody is going to SmackDown.
I think Cody.
They need that.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Cody's going to SmackDown. So
I don't know. I think he might stay on Raw. That title hasn't been on Raw since Brock Lesnar lost it. I mean,
yeah. I mean, well, they could do multiple brands, but I think it comes down to what are you trying to build? Yeah, Raw is supposed to be the flagship show, but at this point, and until they get on Netflix, I still think it's SmackDown. When they get on Netflix, then you could see the champion be on there. But until they're on Fox.
But see, here's the thing. My thing is this: you're not going to switch the champion over before WrestleMania, so they could put it on Raw.
You're absolutely right. But the flip side of it is, without Reigns being on SmackDown, how are you going to build your ratings? You got to get Rhodes over there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, it's definitely a good conversation to have. What else did you enjoy about WrestleMania?
Chelsea.
I think that was a surprise, and that was a part of the Andrade match. The two big guys there, and they look like two big luchadors.
First of all, Lane Johnson is huge.
He's huge.
Oh yeah,
Lane Johnson is, and you know who else is huge? George Kittle is huge.
Right. I believe he's going to be a future wrestler. I mean, if it's not Rob Gronkowski, then it's George Kittle. Like a tight end could be a wrestler. Like they got that person. You got to have that personality. Like you can be great on the mic. You got to have that craziness, that physicality. Like you can see Travis Kelce be a wrestler. He's already cutting, promos. Jason Kelce there.
Every man's persona.
Right. I mean, you could have George Kittle. You could have Rob Gronkowski. Gronkowski tried to run with that before he decided to come back to the Bucs, which was
the other surprise on it, and I like him is Cross and Scarlett. How do you build those guys up? How do you build those guys up and then let down at WrestleMania? They should have steamrolled the Street Profits.
Well, because I don't understand it either. Like if you're trying to build them up, and I know,
you got all these guys. You got the wise man there almost, and what's his name?
Wise man, Paul Ellering.
Yeah, you got him there. You built up this faction. And, it reminded me of, and God rest his soul, Bray Wyatt. It reminded me of the time when, if they just built it with The Undertaker and Kane and all those guys, they would have had a hell of a faction.
Well, not just a faction. I mean, look, if you're going to have a match, and I continue to say this, and I just watched the documentary. Curtis, have you seen the Bray Wyatt documentary?
No, I'm actually going to watch it.
I will give anybody my Peacock password, which I said Peacock, okay? Stop being a jerk if you're out there laughing. A Peacock password to see that Bray Wyatt documentary because it's classic.
Can I tell you why I haven't watched it yet?
Why? Because you're not ready. You're not ready to cry.
I'm going to cry. I know I'm going to cry.
Yes, you will.
I know.
It must have been something, Peter.
It was COVID. He had an underlying heart condition. But going back to the point, if you're gonna have a match with Bray Wyatt, and this is how you're gonna book him, you're gonna book him as the next guy, the next heel, the next face of fear, and you have John Cena at WrestleMania 30. You have to freaking put Bray Wyatt over John Cena. I love John Cena, but he has nothing to gain by beating Bray Wyatt. Wyatt has everything to gain. If you're going to put Bray Wyatt versus The Undertaker, I can make that match where he takes the streak away over freaking Brock Lesnar.
That would have been a better story.
Let the truth set you free. You pass the torch to Bray Wyatt as the new face of fear. He's the guy that goes over on The Undertaker. He's the guy that takes the streak down. It's perfect booking, and that was the problem. If Triple H books that, then that match is done. Bray Wyatt is the guy. That is the perfect. Not Brock friggin' Lesnar. Brock Lesnar, a part-timer over a hard worker, a kid that is a third-generation star, and Wyatt, come on, give me a break.
Yeah, and what were the problems in that documentary? Did they detail anything? Because during the COVID thing, I don't know if he crashed his car or he
didn't crash his car, but he was ready to come back. He got sick. He got COVID. And he had to have he had some heart problems, underlying condition. He was on a heart monitor. I mean, he was really sick, but he was getting ready to get cleared. They were ready to bring him back. And then all of a sudden, boom, he passed away. And it's sad. But it just shows you, 36 years old, highly talented, great on the mic, very creative in what they were coming up with him and his brother, which, by the way, I'm going to give it away. His brother, Uncle Howdy, is going to come back. Yes, he's definitely going to come back there and be that character. But what they had planned is it's disappointing because it'll never come to fruition. You'll never know it. That's how creative he was. And just imagine if he were with Triple H a little bit more time, it would have been magic. It really would have been.
I would love to see him and Cody go at it.
Yeah.
Him and Cody.
Bray Wyatt was something. I mean, the whole Firefly thing and everything. And now you've lost a couple of those guys because the other guy passed in the COVID era too.
Yeah. Brody Lee, which is sad in itself. He goes to AEW.
Yeah.
He's becoming the exalted one, the top guy, top hill, making fun of Vince McMahon. Like, you go to AEW and you're the exalted one and you're making fun of Vince McMahon. Like, you got some balls. And he had some talent too that WWE was never able, to get out of him, unlock. And that absolutely tore apart Wyatt. That tore him apart. He wasn't able to get over that to a certain degree. He wasn't able to get over that loss. So that definitely hurt him. So the good thing you got to take out of this is that he's not struggling with anything anymore. He's not in any pain. And then on top of it, he's with his friend.
Yeah.
I love to see Jay. I love watching Jay beat Jimmy.
Yeah,
loved it. I think you know, this is going to sound weird, but
sure,
I would love to see Jay beat Damian Priest and then go to SmackDown as the champion.
I mean, why not? He's main event Jey Uso. I mean, I got to ask you, Mark, you've been a part of booking decisions with XPW. You've seen this. Is this kid, he's got the Uso name, of course, the bloodline. He's got everything. He's got the crowd. He seems like he's over. He's got the move set. I mean, what's stopping them from, pushing him to, he's already main event status. So what's stopping them from putting the title on him?
Yeah, they should. I mean, they really should. There's nothing that's stopping them. They should, I think what they do here is they don't understand, and as much as we can sit here and dissect it and talk about it and everything, they put all their fuel and fire into one thing that it doesn't seem to work, but they keep pushing it down our throats. In case in point, when Roman Reigns, was a face, you knew the fans were booing him left and right. He needed to go heel, and they never did that. They never made the turn, and they figured it out.
Yeah.
It's kind of almost like a reactive approach. If you got a tree leaning on your street, we're going to wait for it to fall down and kill somebody or take out about 3 cars. Then we're going to bring all the trucks out and cut every tree in a 5-mile radius. They're not proactive on any of these decisions. It just seems like it's reactive. The Judgment Day should have been gone a long time ago. Now they're realizing, well, J.D. McDonough and Finn Balor aren't the answer.
Yeah, I don't know if they're the answer, but the vehicle for them is the development of a Rhea Ripley, and of course, a Damian Priest. That's the reason why you have the faction in the first place. All right, Curtis, what else here on the Evolution?
It's just great to see wrestling finally, going back in the right direction.
What do you think The Rock gave Cody Rhodes the other night? Did that look like a watch?
I'm not even touching that, man. I don't even know. You know what? And when the time is right, we will all know. That's all I'm gonna say.
All right.
And you know what? That is what I enjoyed. But let me tell you something. When The Undertaker came out, I had goosebumps.
Well, let's go ahead. Let's recap that for a minute because we didn't.
I had goosebumps.
Right.
I was sitting here in my chair on the edge of my seat already because it was the match started at 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
And nobody got involved until about 10:25, 10:30.
Mm-hmm.
And then Jimmy came out, and then Jay came out, and then Solo came out, and Cena came out, and Seth came out, and The Rock came out. Listen,
that's Avengers Endgame. That's what that is.
Yeah,
it was Avengers Infinity War, the first night with the snap and the blip and everybody disappearing. And you're like, oh my God, what's going to happen? And then night 2, you got John Cena coming out and taking care of Solo Sikoa. You've got the
Rock taking care of Cena.
Well, I mean, that face off, right? So that 2012, they got history there. And then the Undertaker comes. I thought it was gonna be Stone Cold. I thought the glass was gonna shatter for Stone Cold.
Listen,
I really did.
Stone Cold would have been great.
Yes,
but the Undertaker,
especially in Philadelphia.
Oh my gosh!
I had so many goosebumps.
I know.
I was like,
did you see his face? Did you see the Undertaker? Like you wronged Cody Rhodes. You wronged the business. We're ready to take care of you, final boss. Choke slam done. Beautiful.
No, this is me and my cousin actually were talking because we sat on the phone. Me, him, and my buddy Nico. We all for 2 days. We all FaceTimed each other. We sat on the phone for both shows, the entire shows.
Yeah.
And I'm like, bro, anything could happen in that final match.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing. The bloodline has screwed over so many people.
Yes.
They could have literally had the ring surrounded with people.
Right.
That wanted to take out the bloodline.
It's like Thanos, like all over again.
Yes.
It kind of reminded me of Nexus. Remember when everybody turned on Nexus?
Well, yes, but when the Nexus came out, that was a great gimmick. Now,
Wade Barrett
they screwed it up after that. They screwed up by firing Daniel Bryan at the time because he choked the ring announcer Justin Roberts with a tie, which was a little bit extreme.
I saw a shirt, in an event one time, and it said, I remember The big end with the yellow, and if you ain't with us, you're against us.
Right. But they did the bloodline thing, and it was so long. And then, like you said, you had all the wrestlers come out, and you even had Seth Rollins come out. And even when that Shield music hit, this is my first thought, Curtis, and we got to run here. I thought it was Dean Ambrose, and it wasn't. It was Seth Rollins.
I'm going to tell you who I thought was coming.
Right.
I thought Brock Lesnar was going to come out.
Oh my God! With the Shield music,
I kind of
no, not with the Shield music. I thought he was going to come out in general because if you remember him and Cody's last match, didn't they shake hands?
They did shake hands, and he had, absolutely, he had a lot of respect for Cody. But the reason why they don't bring him out is because all those friggin' allegations with Vince McMahon. They want to.
Oh, I know. I know.
I don't think Brock will ever be seen again in WWE. Just my opinion.
Wow.
I don't think it'll ever happen.
Ever?
No.
Ever?
They're gonna distance themselves from those allegations as much as they can. It's a black eye. I get it, Brock, what he's done for the business, but they don't want any part of it. They don't want any mention of it. It's like a Chris Benoit situation. They don't want to talk about Vince McMahon. Like, I was surprised that, Steph came out on night 2. But the reason why she comes out is to reinforce that it is the Paul Levesque era. They did that on purpose. But I never see any mention of McMahon.
Well, it's like it's like the McMahon family has gone.
Yes.
Yeah.
Linda even being in the background at the Hall of Fame. And they took a picture of that. Yeah.
Well, what about Shane?
Well, you don't see Shane either. No Shane McMahon. Yeah. I mean, he wasn't part of the allegations, but still, you don't see
but
him.
Shane.
It reminds me of the guys like in hockey, the 5 guys that are up in Toronto on trial.
Yeah.
With that allegation. I'm trying to figure out all the guys that are involved in this one. I think it was Vince McMahon. Then it's Laurinaitis. Wasn't he mentioned in it?
Yes, he was.
Then it was Lesnar, and then I'm trying to think of the rest of these guys.
Yeah, it's
It
ugly.
must be a long list.
Yeah, and then again, I want to go out to these comments really quick, Curtis, and then we'll move on. But let me go out to this one. Oh boy, it's wrestling talk. Sleeping, I'm right. Come on, man. You can always talk about.
You know what? Tell that person.
Yeah.
We're sorry that they don't enjoy other entertainment.
We can talk about anything you want to, but we got to.
Yeah, well, you know what it is? It's like I told a guy the other day that says I suck, but I said, you're listening. How do I suck?
That's it. There you go.
You know what? I'm gonna tell you something. Every time I watch wrestling, when I watched WrestleMania this weekend, my inner child came out.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, that's what it's all about. Like, people say, how can you watch wrestling? I mean, how can you watch movies? How can you watch storylines? It's the same freaking thing. It's the same thing. The only thing
I don't like rom-coms, but if it's gonna make me $1 billion, I mean,
sure. If it's entertaining, if there's a storyline to it, if there's long-term storytelling to it, if there's a reason why I'm watching it in the first place, Let me go out to Tulio here, big-time wrestling fan. Seems like Triple H will have the WWE draft at the end of April that will rearrange things from WrestleMania.
I believe it.
Correct. I'm right. So when are we going to talk about sports? Whenever you want to, I'm right. Anwar says, I seen a mock today that has the Bucs taking Brian Thomas Jr. LSU became all.
Let me. The guy that wants to wrap sports real quick, because I know I'm up against the clock and I hate missing this. But what's the whole cover up here in Los Angeles with the Ohtani thing? I mean, if you're gonna say this guy loses $4.5 million, he doesn't know what the hell happened, then why don't you just bring Pete Rose back in the Hall of Fame?
Yeah, that's not happening, but he is.
Well, now the other story. Here's the other story. So Ohtani hits a home run, first one at Dodger Stadium. The ball's probably worth $100,000. Supposedly, they give the person that caught the ball like 2 bats and a signed baseball. Ohtani never met him. I'm saying to myself, you got $100,000 ball and you're going to get 2 bats.
Yeah, that's all you gave him. Yeah.
They gave him a bat, a baseball, and 2 hats. That's all
I will say this, Peter, and I'm going to beat this with a hammer into a coffin. The Dodgers, the Dallas Cowboys, and the New York Rangers, these are fallen franchises that they talk every year what they're going to do, and then it's crickets during the end of the year.
Well, come on now. The Dodgers just won a World Series against the Rays in 2020.
50 games, you're going to actually count that.
I mean, it's a World Series. So you count the COVID.
You know how bad the Dodgers want to probably shove it down my throat when they win a World Series playing 162 games.
Absolutely.
I'll be probably the first guy they shove it down their throat saying, hey, we won it now in 5 decades. The first time it's playing 162 games. And the Cowboy fans are the same things, chirping every year.
All right, Curtis, appreciate the call. As always, thanks a lot, my friend. We'll see you soon.
Curtis is revved up, man. Sports, baby.
I love Curtis.
That's right.
All right, good stuff there. I mean, great calls tonight by the guys. Want to get out. Actually, let's go ahead and get you out of here for the night. Go ahead and promote yourself, Mr. Mark Mancini.
Well,
here.
you know, XM 203, Series 217. Philly now, it's a great show with Marianne and the gang. And, the Pirate Podcast, Mondays and Fridays, still going strong. I love this thing on Wednesdays. And by the way, that was a great game the other night when we got past your Tampa Bay Lightning.
See, you're good to go until you had to mention that. And now
I love you, brother. You know I love you.
All right, brother.
I had to get that in.
I know you did. Mark Mancini, former XPW announcer here on Turnbuckle Talk. Appreciate your time, all right? Good stuff there from that guy. Let's go ahead and read the rest of these comments. And then we're going to get out of here for the night unless there's any more phone calls. If you want to get on the phone line, 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. See, I know there's wrestling fans out there. Like, I refuse to sit here and say that nobody is a wrestling fan. People go, well, your views go down when you talk wrestling. I don't care. Like, I know there's wrestling fans out there, and you're more than welcome to come on this show and say what you want to say, especially about WrestleMania 40. All right, so going back to that, before 28th pick, center and guard, certainly think that's possible. Although, if you draft a Brian Thomas Jr., are you turning the page on a Chris Godwin? Do you start to think that? Like, I'm not sure. But if he's there, if he's the best player on the board, I still think you may want to look to trade down. Let me go out to the phone lines. What's your name? Where you calling from? You on the Evolution?
Hey, Peter. Orlando.
Who's this?
Anwar, Orlando.
Oh, what's going on, Anwar? I know you're a big-time wrestling fan. Yes.
I tried to put that question in the text, but it came across wrong. What I was trying to say is,
okay,
I seen a mock draft today where all the centers, the guy from Duke and the one from Notre Dame, were both gone.
Right.
And the top D-ends were gone.
So
the Bucs they had the Bucs taking the wide receiver out of LSU. What do you think about that? At 28 or 26?
Well, he's certainly talented. He kind of reminds you of, I thought at the time, Chris Godwin, right? Very dependable hands, not necessarily the greatest athleticism until he ran that 40, and everybody's like, whoa. And he's playing at top competition. I'm not sure if he's there, to tell you the truth, Anwar. I mean, with that 40 time.
He may not be there, but the reason they said he could be there, because, they had the Harrisons and all the other receivers going.
Sure.
They said be some security because they don't think they're going to pay Godwin big money after they just gave Evans his contract. So you have to have a replacement in place in case Godwin walks.
It's certainly possible. And I tell you why it's possible, because you're exactly right. Godwin is making a lot of money. I don't think they want to get rid of him this year or trade him because of that. You want to put him in his natural position. But going forward, is there a possibility they could move on from him? Absolutely. And then furthermore, Mike Evans is getting up there in age. So you could definitely.
And they said that too.
Right.
So you got to look for the future.
Sure. So I could definitely see that if you want to, give Baker Mayfield another weapon. If the guard and the center is off the board, if there's no defensive ends, I still think there's going to be some defensive players on the board that you may be surprised by.
Dominate the first 15 picks of the draft.
Yeah. Well, I mean, everybody's going to run on quarterbacks. I mean, how many quarterbacks are going to be taken in this first round? The first 15 picks, you count the teams up, right? So the Bears take Caleb Williams. Who does number 2? Who does Washington take? They take Drake May. Did they take J.J. McCarthy? Right.
Patriots take Daniels.
Okay.
They had the Vikings moving up at trade with 11 to come up to get McCarthy.
That's what I've heard.
They had Bo Nix going 12 or 13 behind him to the Broncos.
Correct. And they have Penix Jr. going to the Raiders.
Penix going 12 to the Raiders, yeah.
Right. And then after that, that's 6 quarterbacks right there.
And that means there's going to be a lot of defensive weapons still on the board in the late ends of this draft.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I would get excited about, defensively. But, Yeah, I'm all for Jackson Powers Johnson. I mean, the attitude of the kid, he certainly seems like, he could replace Ryan Jensen. Let's face it, Anwar. I mean, that's one of the biggest losses on that line is losing a Ryan Jensen. It's not just the physicality of him. It's the attitude. And it's also the guy that can make the line calls when you have those blitzes and those pickups.
I think it'll help out the running game. That's
right.
The problem.
Exactly.
We can't run. It's the center. Hainsey is not a center, unfortunately. We playing him there, but that's not his natural spot, I don't think.
Right. Exactly. I think you're absolutely correct about that. And you can move him to guard. So you get Jackson Powers Johnson, or let's say you draft a Zach Frazier out of West Virginia, who the Bucs like a lot. Why? Because he's versatile. He can play guard. He can play center. So he can play multiple positions. You could go in that direction. So you could do it two ways. You could go with Jackson Powers Johnson if he's there. I'm not sure if he's going to be because Seattle's on the board, Steelers, Dallas, Philly. Yeah.
All three of them need center, and they all in front of us.
I want to read this to you really quick. I don't know if you're a baseball fan. This just came over the wire here from ESPN. Ipol Mazura, I hope I'm pronouncing his name correctly, former interpreter for Shohei Ohtani, is facing federal charges related to his alleged theft of millions from the slugger. A source with direct knowledge of the investigation confirmed to ESPN late Wednesday. Your thoughts on this when you thought about it? I know you watch all sports here. Ohtani, possibly in the wrong here, gambling. We heard something today about Michael Porter's brother, possibly being indefinitely banned by the NBA here for a cardinal sin. I mean, gambling is definitely relevant when it comes to sports right now. How much do you believe Ohtani?
I believe Ohtani knew what was going on, and it became a problem when it got out because there ain't no way you can take $4 million from me and I don't know.
Right.
Because I'm gonna check if I got $700 million, how many times you checking your account a week? Every other hour.
Every other hour. I think every other second at this point.
$4 million and I don't see the transactions come. I mean, I know it's a lot of money,
right?
But you're gonna see that. You're gonna get a notification to your phone or something saying you just removed $4,000, $4 million.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Obviously, it either was that one big time or it was over many transactions. The way he probably did it to make it less noticeable. Take 200,000, 500,000, 700,000. Because if you take $4 million, the bank is going to contact you at a high rate like that. So it had to
you
be
would think, yeah, you would, yeah, you would think. I mean, if you had that much money, I'd be checking it every second. I wouldn't be on this show right now. Yeah, exactly. That much money.
You'll be checking it all the time.
Yeah, I'll be checking it all the time. Be having fun with it all the time. Probably trying to invest it, save it. Probably would be on this show trying to save it, so nobody could take it. Wouldn't be given.
I think even with money, you still would be doing the sports well.
Oh, absolutely, man. I love it. I love fans like yourself. Huh?
You'll be on a bigger platform doing it Monday, 9 to 5 as opposed to 8 to 12.
Oh yeah, absolutely. During the daytime, that'd be great. Do this 5 days a week, not doing any sales, not talking to Gertrude or Ethel or Winifred, the cobweb gang, if you will. Yeah, I definitely love to be doing the sports web 5 days a week, man. And it's fans like yourself that make this possible, dude. I know you've been with me for a long time, and I really appreciate it.
Keep going. The sky's the limit. Like I seen your post tonight that you got to take over something from some other guy. You said,
yeah, WATB Sports. We acquired that.
You never know who's connected with that. It could be big money there somewhere that you don't even think about it. They just watch one episode and then they want to get involved in it. It can just take off.
Yeah.
Just think about where you come from the last couple of years and look where big you is now. So imagine 5 years from now, you're going to be like triple your audience, what you're doing right now.
Hey, man, I really appreciate it. You keep on watching, you keep on calling, you call in twice, and you talk wrestling anytime you want to. You're more than welcome, all right?
And I love Cody Rhodes for the record finishing his story.
Come on, right? Exactly. Like, that's what I'm talking about.
Before, I felt the same way. I called the scene. I'm calling the scene the whole time.
Yeah.
I thought it was going to be Austin as well. But when the taker dropped, I freaking dropped my remote, my phone. I was like, what?
Yeah.
It was crazy.
It was. And when Cena comes out, because they did this foreshadowing, because Triple H is all about the Easter eggs. He shows the truck, of course, when the final boss, The Rock, is beating him down. And they show Cena and Austin. So I was like, okay, both of those guys have history with The Rock. They're going to show up. It makes sense with Austin being an ECW, Philadelphia, all that jazz. So you would think he was definitely come out. But when The Undertaker came out, I was like, oh, wow. Okay. And then you see his face and you see The Rock's face, and it was like, and you knew it was over. You knew it was over at that point.
Yeah, when I seen The Undertaker come out, that was the moment right there, and I knew Cody was winning.
Yeah.
Up until that point, it could have went either way because they played it amazingly. But the only thing I wanted to share about that, apparently though, Rollins got hit in the face. He got hurt for real. Like he had a big black eye or something. I guess when he took that chair and then turned around, I guess he got kicked or something. He left the ring when they was doing the celebration. I don't know if he was focused on him, but he had a big his eye was all the way swollen up.
Yeah, I didn't see that, but it was so funny because when his music hit, when the Shield's music hit, I thought it was Dean Ambrose. I thought it was John Moxley.
Come out of the crowd, but I'm thinking the crowd is too big.
Yeah.
So that ain't work, coming out of football stadium.
Right. But he was right. Seth Rollins, he said he was going to be the Shield of Cody. He was. Roman Reigns, and here's how the storyline worked out. Of course, he took the chair shot from Seth Rollins years ago when he was going with the Authority and Triple H when he turned his back on the Shield. And Roman Reigns remembered that and took a chair shot instead of taking the chair shot to Cody and possibly ending the match, hit Seth Rollins. And that was good enough time for, Cody to take advantage of that and take advantage of that momentum. And of course, Roman goes to the spear. It's blocked, and Cody with the crossroads 3 times. And I'm just glad they ended it because I was tired of it.
The other thing I was calling that I called for this Mania was Priest cashing in if whatchamacallit won, and he did. Like, I seen that coming. When I seen him win and he got down on the ground and then he went over there, when he went back to go over there to start messing with Punk, I said right there to my friend, I'm like, Priest is going to cash in. Because Punk is going to hit him with something. I thought it was going to be a chair or something. I didn't think it was going to be the brace. But it makes sense because he put him in the brace. So I hit you with the brace you put me in so that, that all played its part. But I think that was done amazingly.
It was absolutely done amazingly. And again, the storytelling, the long-term storytelling with John Cena coming out and taking care of Sokoa there. That was good. Yeah. Solo. I liked that because Solo's done him dirty before, and then giving him the AA. I don't know how. I don't know what you more could expect from that WrestleMania unless you are a Roman Reigns fan, and of course you probably didn't like it because he finally lost after freaking 4 years.
And one last thing,
as
far as wrestling go, what's the guy that's the team with the Miz? What's his name?
R-Truth.
R-Truth.
Yes.
R-Truth is a living legend.
Yes.
When that guy stops wrestling, listen, I don't know if you saw what he did on Raw. I totally did not have Cena in my mind. He was like, yeah, we're going to have the guy that you can't see.
Right.
I didn't, it blew my mind when Cena came out again. Like, you got me 2 days in a row with that.
Yeah, exactly. You're exactly right about that. When he said it, I caught on. I was like, oh, that's John Cena. That's when John Cena. Yeah, everybody's like little Jimmy. But you're completely correct about this, Anwar. R-Truth has been in the business for a long time. He's never really gotten his due. And how ridiculous is it that he finally gets his moment at WrestleMania to win the he should have already had his moment. He's had moments. I can't believe that it took this long, but he deserves it.
WrestleMania.
Yeah.
He's like 6 or 7, and they've never let him win.
Never let him win. Yeah.
But I think that was amazing, though.
It was. Best Mania ever?
Best Mania ever, easily.
All right. Anwar, appreciate the time. Appreciate the call. Definitely don't be a stranger here on The Evolution. All right, my friend?
All right, have a great night, Peter. I'll call back eventually.
Yeah, sounds good. Definitely sooner than later, my friend.
Sooner than later. Alrighty.
All right, good stuff there. Love the wrestling talk. Yeah. I see Mr. Williams is trying to call in, so we'll try to take that call. Mr. Williams, call back if you want to. Triple H will bring wrestling back. Bobby, I think he's already done that. That's the greatest WrestleMania you've ever seen, in my opinion. Like, I remember my first WrestleMania was WrestleMania 3 at Detroit. It topped that. It really did. As crazy as that sounds, it did. Star power, everything else. Maybe WrestleMania 3 is the first one, with Hogan and Andre the Giant and Macho Man and Steamboat. I wonder if the Shield comes back. I doubt it. I don't know. Brock is done. Absolutely, Bobby. Good stuff. Why did Steph have an AEW hat on? She did not. She had an ECW hat on. And the reason why she had it on, it was actually the hat that she was wearing from the Invasion angle. Do you remember? She took over for ECW. Shane sold her ECW. Of course, it was all Vince that owned everything, but they were trying to have a show at first with WCW, and that didn't work. It tanked, and then they were bringing ECW in there. Paul Heyman, and Stephanie was the general manager at the time, and she wore that hat during the Invasion angle in 2001. So good catch. Wasn't AEW, ECW, though. That was the best Mania ever. Read the rest of these. Should the Bucs take a wide receiver in the first 3 picks to help Baker and security? Godwin, look, definitely could take a wide receiver there. Brandon Rice comes to mind. Jerry's son, he could be on the board. There's some other talented wide receivers out there. There is a plethora of wide receiving talent in this draft. So you don't necessarily have to get one in the first round. You can get one in the second or third round. And who knows? Maybe Keon Coleman is not a first round pick. What if he did slip Bucs fans to the second round where the Bucs pick, I believe, is 57? Do you take him? Are you okay with that? We'll see. I still think you go with the defensive player with the first round there. And then I think you let Jason Line do his magic when it comes to centers and guards, because that's what he always usually does, right? Drafts one in the second or third round. I'm right. We need an O lineman or a cornerback. Definitely not a wide receiver. So you're on the Kool-Aid bandwagon, I see there. I'm right. And Peter, what do you think of our chances of getting Micah Parsons? It's been talked about. It's a rumor that the Cowboys are tired of Parsons. I get it. The annex off the field, but how much would you have to give up for Parsons? Are you talking about 2 or 3 first-round picks? I'm not doing that. Maybe 2 first-round picks. I guess you could consider it. But that absolutely improves your pass rush. But do you really think the Dallas Cowboys are going to trade a primetime player like Parsons? I'm not sure. I don't know if I buy that. Again, thanks a lot to all the guests for the night. Mr. Leo Haggerty, former Coach Scout and now media member of Night Sports Productions, Amped Up Sports. Mr. Tampa Bay, Ray Kennedy. We were expecting, of course, here at the Greek, but he wasn't on tonight. So we'll have him back. Actually, check in on Saturday. We may be doing something here with the USF spring game. And, of course, the madman himself, Mr. Mark Mancini, former XPW announcer. And, of course, Mancini Media. Like and subscribe to the Sports Web on YouTube. YouTube Super Chats are open. Friend me on Facebook at Peter H. Blake. Like WATB Sports. That's a new page here. We're going to go live from. Still part of Bucs Live. Still part of the collective. Still a part of I Love St. Pete. Like and follow and share and do 3 things for me. You know them. You love them. You got to have them. Bring your passion. Bring your excitement. Just don't bring any nonsense. I'm your host, Peter Blake, your Rolex reporter. What time is it? It's my time. And for fans of the Sports Web and the Tampa Bay sports fan, it's your time. We'll see you next time on the evolution of Sports Talk Television. Bars.